Bootleg Ninja? Yeah. No, don't give me no Bootleg Ninja options. This is the Imperial Schools of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we, in 2026 now, are going to be bullshit about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today we are YOLO body crashing into GamePro issue number 22. Link to the issues in the show notes, as it always is. Please rate and review the podcast. If you post it, we'll read it here. Give us validation and self-worth, or ridicules, as long as it's also funny. And we will read it here on the pod. And I feel like it's like, we haven't gotten a written review in forever. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we get like the ratings on Spotify and stuff, but like I just don't feel like anyone. I feel like maybe podcast ratings in general are a oversaturated thing of the past that just won't be happening anymore. It's just like numbers.
That takes
Humans
time.
aren't going to take the time.
Yeah.
I guess if we're good enough and we say this enough times, there's someone I know, like Ian, that did the Simon's Quest,
right?
Able Gamers thing. Like, he was like sending me messages, like, I'm trying to leave you a review and I can't fucking do it on the thing. So like, there are even people trying to, and they still can't. So it's just, that's a thing of the past, perhaps. But we'll push for it anyway. So if you'd like reading them here on the pod, so please give us that opportunity here. Especially after this long-winded, meaningless diatribe about it. What are we jamming on now, Jay? What are you jamming on in 2026 at the beach?
At the beach, chilling. Several things actually. It's been a nice gaming break. First of all, still playing some college football, but I've stopped emphasizing it. It's starting to affect my nervous system. Like I'm actually playing a game. And it doesn't feel good, because I play competitively like all the time, whether it's a dynasty or like online matches. Like I'm almost never playing against the computer unless it's like part of the dynasty. And so like I'm reading defenses, trying to make shifts at the line. Like it's intense. And so like I'm like sweating, and I realize this is
sweating.
Yeah, it's really affecting my nervous system while I play, and that's not fun when I'm trying.
You're
to
just pushing buttons. You shouldn't be sweating. Yeah.
It's funny too because I was watching. It just popped in my memory. I was watching the college football, one of the semifinal games last night, and dude, no lie, this is the first time this has ever happened. I'm watching Oregon and Indiana, and Indiana like gets ready to snap the ball. I see a player on defense move, and then I think, oh, if that dude moves to the left, go over top immediately. Dude moved to the left, and I'm thinking, oh, I would throw the ball. And immediately that's exactly what happened. Touchdown. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to that level. I've played college football so much as a quarterback. I've got to the level where I think I can translate that now. To what that would be like.
Real life situations.
Except obviously you have to physically throw the ball there and everything. But I was like, oh, finally, I feel like I've gotten to that point.
That meaningless ass component of it. Don't even sweat that part, Jeff.
I can make that throw every time. 30 yards, no problem.
But a rope. Frozen rope.
But that was exciting, I'm excited about that, but at the same time, I think I'm going to chill on that, kind of de-emphasize it. Play it a lot less. But in the spirit...
Sports games aren't good for you. I agree.
Well, I still like competition, but it's funny that never affected me. I feel like playing the basketball games. But I never, at the same time, was never competitive at the basketball games. Like playing live or 2K, I'm playing against the computer 95% of the time. Every now and then I play a 3-on-3, but otherwise, like I'm getting.
And you're missing layups 35 seconds, so how can you possibly get emotionally invested?
Like I'm not even. Not trying. But to switch it up, been playing a lot more Marvel Rivals again. I convinced Zion to play with me, and after a warm up, like we were kicking butt, man. They've recently added a few new characters, so you got Jean Grey Phoenix, which is amazing to play with. You have Gambit, and then Angela from Asgard. I actually really enjoy playing with Cloak and Dagger, though. Two characters you can swap between. With Cloak, you're doing damage, and Dagger, you're doing
That's
heals.
cool. I mean, I don't know I remember those literally, again, my entire understanding of the Marvel Universe is just an extension of that 162 card trading card set, the first one. And I remember Cloak and Dagger from that, so I know who you're talking about, and I know that they're like a duo, but just understanding that that's a cool implementation in a fighting, like whatever, like to have them like presented as a team. Is cool.
Yeah. And it's fun too, because I think in other games, like ESO and other games where you have the ability to hybrid heal and do damage, it's always like, you're never going to do great damage, you're never going to do great heals, you're kind of do mid each. But with this, they do a really good job at balancing. So I feel like when I can do strong damage, I can get like 5-player KO streaks, then I can flip and like heal everybody way up like in the heat of the battle. Like it's a really fun combo. Like it's really fun to play. And I never thought I would like them, you know, like they're fun aesthetically with all the skins and everything, but they've never been like my favorite characters. You know, there was the Hulu show years ago, which was interesting and kind of like an interesting spin on them.
On those two characters?
Yeah. It was a Cloak and Dagger show. It's you could probably pull it up on Hulu now, actually. I would check it out. But that's kind of my only real, I guess, emphasis, my experience with them before this, but a lot of fun either way. Funny enough, this morning I jumped on too, just to kind of check, like we were talking about before, just to grab some screenshots for the episode and to see what I had. And I was presented with the option of playing this new zombie mode, which Marvel Zombies as a concept, I was never excited about. Even on the television show, it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's not that exciting of a concept to me. But
the fuck are you talking about, the television show Marvel Zombies?
Oh my gosh. So
maybe that's a bad question.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just not ask that question.
No. Disney on Disney now, the app, the streaming app, there is a Marvel Zombies. It started as just like one episode of Marvel What If. So if you watch the Marvel What Ifs, which are just kind of like what if, you know, just these alternate universe, like random happening kind of fun episodes. One of them was like, what if Marvel Zombies happened and, you know, a zombie outbreak happened in the Marvel Universe. And so, you know, to me, that was kind of just like, whatever concept. So that's where it started. And like, from that spawned this whole mode in the game. And it's actually fun. Like it took me like a full 30 plus minutes to play through this whole mode, but like you're progressive. Like it's always fun to mow down like mobs of zombies coming at you. You know what I mean? I'm like Frank Castle and I'm just like mowing down with my machine gun. Like it's a lot of fun. It actually is really well done. So I think I'm actually going to be playing that as well, because it feels a little bit like a straightforward spin-off of what Call of Duty Zombies was, and I really like playing that with the guys. So I think I'm going to be playing, like, Marvel Rivals keeps doing different things and like pulling me back. Every time I think I'm going to take a break, they do something different and I'm back in again.
It's always like, it's like my tried and true barometer for whatever mainstream gaming, whatever conversation, but that Cheap Ass Gamers podcast mentioned it in what I felt kind of out of the blue in the last episode.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, oh, that's still around, huh? Okay.
Yeah, man. They're, like I said, still releasing characters, and like, I know that since they have released Gambit, they haven't released Rogue yet, but she's on the cover, so it's kind of like, yes, she's coming very soon. And so, yeah, they just keep as long as they're going to keep continuing to add new characters, fun, new, crazy skins, tie it to the current happenings in the comics, because like I said, they've done that with like the Krakoa era and like how that ended and things that are happening since then. So it really kind of keeps you hooked, like in a really fresh way with the games, which is fun. It was unexpected. Like to me, it was kind of just like a random ass idea. Like, all right, we're just doing a Marvel fighter game, okay? Or, you know, let's see how this is going to be. But the fact that they just keep evolving it and adding to it like that, it's really well done, man. I'm impressed.
Okay.
But and actually keeping it in the Marvel vein, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Have you heard of that? So I actually beat it with the kids this morning. We've been playing it for weeks. It's a multiplayer side-scrolling action beat 'em up, and just really fun. Like exactly what you think, you know, side-scrolling a la Final Fight, Final Fury, like all those side-scrolling. TMNT 2, the arcade game,
I'm
pretty
assuming
much like that.
Galactus Silver Surfer fucking realm things.
They do come into play, but they're not like they're not the final boss or anything like that. But they are present. It's actually because it's Cosmic Invasion, of course they're involved, but then there are there's a different enemy who is kind of like the main villain, and it's not Thanos, and so that's interesting. And so you have these I keep saying random. You have an amalgamation of different Marvel characters who are not just kind of like, oh, we're just going to be the X-Men or just the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, no, you're going to have your Nova, you're going to have your Phyla Vel, which is a different take or an alternate Captain Marvel. Of course, you have like Storm, but then again, Jean Grey Phoenix is there, because she's super powerful. But then you got to have
that's kind of what they did with those
Thor,
storylines too.
Yeah, Beta Ray Bill, but then you have She-Hulk. So it's kind of like from people who have Venom, people who have also traditionally been involved in cosmic galactic kind of fights for one reason or another.
Space Knight. What the fuck were the storyline? Infinity Wars, right?
Yep. Infinity Wars too. Yeah, so it's it's a lot. It's fun. Like the characters are fun. The moves are actually varied for each character. Not that it's not just kind of like every player has. If you press X twice, they do this. It's like Storm. If you hit X 4 times, she does something completely different. Jean Grey, if you press X 4 times, absolutely nothing happens. But, if you hold X and A, she does something different. So it's actually fun the way that they not only give you different cosmetics to go for, different move sets. It actually, I don't know how to describe it. Like the interplay between the abilities and the characters is done in a fun way to kind of keep the beat 'em up, try and true formula a little different, like fresh, a little different, and kind of keep it fun. Outside of those things, the thing that's probably taking the most time is Cyberpunk 2077. Finally getting back into this, thanks to my wife. She was looking through the regular end-of-year sales and mentioned Cyberpunk, to which I told her my story of how it was currently installed for me, ready to dive back into, as after Expedition 33. So she immediately grabbed the bundle with the Idris Elba DLC, Phantom Liberty, which I was like nominated for all these awards. I think I might have won some. So we were off and away. We decided, let's just play next to each other. Have our headsets on. We can talk about like what's happening. Let's just kind of game together. And dude, it's so good. Like I just started over because it had been so long since I had played my previous save. I was like 23 hours in. Past that now, but back into the story, like it's the little things like NPCs reacting to me mid dialogue. Like if they can be talking to me and we're supposed to be walking and talking, and then I'll go turn and go do something else, and they're just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like they're just like, "We're having a discussion here. Like, are you paying attention to me?" Like little things like that, which are completely unexpected and kind of threw me off and made me kind of focus and lock in further if I kind of spaced on something, little power babies off to the side. And I really like the vibrant, colorful world. Like, even though it's a not quite a world I want to live in based on like the futuristic, dystopian kind of corporate ownership structure of things, but it's just really fun. And I can't say enough about it, man. Like, Courtney was like this morning. She's like, I got to get like 30 minutes in before the kids come out there because there's no way they were playing that with kids present. Like they cannot come in the room at all because you don't know what you're going to get on the screen or the dialogue. Kid will walk in there and just get scarred for life. But for adults, let's play. Playground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, still hasn't. I see it every now and again. And there's, of course, I don't know how great it is. I haven't been interested enough to look at that aspect of it, but there certainly is VR modification efforts for it. Again, whether or not they are pleasant to experience is debatable. That's often the problem with anything like that. Just because it exists does not mean it's good. But I see it all the time, and
if that was in VR,
mildly interested. Well,
Dude.
It's definitely possible. It's always just a matter of how much work and how clean of an experience.
That's what I mean. Like how if it was clean and well done, like to be able to walk around in that world, like it already feels to me when you have your headset on, like so immersive, just with everything that's going on. Like the fact of that being in VR, I might not live in real life. Just kidding.
You would definitely need some additional hardware, but I'm sure it's very possible. There's no question.
Yeah. Though because of that, that's been taking up a lot of time, so I've not been able to enjoy any additional VR goodness, even though I thought about like it's like every time I've thought about like, oh, let me just grab that out and just play some VR. Courtney will walk in like, oh, let's play some Cyberpunk. It's like, all right, Cyberpunk it is. I have no problem with that. It's been fun, but I just have not been enjoying the VR as much lately as a result.
Word. Batman will be there.
Yes, I will get that Batman.
That's
what
it?
have you been doing,
Endpoint?
sir? Yeah, that is it. That has been, trust me, all the time. There's been not time for anything else.
Sounds like enough.
Yeah.
Well, we played a little bit of Battlemarked as well.
That is true. Yeah. Yes, Battlemarked is fun, man. Yeah. By the side note, I'm down to play any of that this afternoon or this weekend if you're around as well. Because
I can definitely play this afternoon when we get done here. Other than editing this podcast, I don't have anything to do this weekend. Substance, anyways. I got an inbox full of shit. Got a thing starting early February. It's gonna fuck with my gaming fucking life for.
Darn it, real life! How dare you get in the way of my gaming adventures? Like, don't you know we have quests?
I gotta find a way to stop having to do anything but what I want.
That's our goal, Josh. We just have to do that
thing.
That's
the goal, right? I think we gotta. If this podcast is gonna be the road to that, we'd have to really make some philosophical shifts. But
good times.
Generally speaking, yes, it is definitely the goal. The big thing. I finished The Forest. This behind me actually is the. It's like I moved my. I think it was after I finished the game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because Jab and I had in our co-op game that we had started, which we haven't played much of for a while, but we went up to this like fertile. It's called the Fertile Lands, and it's just like it's kind of off because the cannibals they have like these patrol routes and shit, and like I've learned, you finish the game, you really start. I mentioned how I watch more videos and blah, 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 blah. And you learn a whole bunch of shit that you just never ascertain, probably from your own whatever exploration. And, there's a bunch of different tribes, and that's why they look different. It never occurred to me. Like, there's actually, I played that game. I'm up to like 185 hours or something on fucking Steam, wow. It says. So, and obviously that doesn't even count however much I might have played on PS4 way back when. So over 200 hours in this game for sure. And I never noticed there's one tribe that wears, they're like CDs. They've like, cause there's like luggage everywhere. Like, there's the, I don't want to spoil it, but there's it's not the first, there's been it's a wild ass story actually. Like really learning everything of it that again, there's just no way you'd gather this playing the game. But if you read all the lore shit, watch the videos and shit, it's fucking crazy. The how and why and whatever. But there's a lot of people that have came through that have ended up marooned on this island. A lot of luggage everywhere and shit. So these cannibals will raid the luggage and they just take shit out of it and do things with it that they don't know what it is even. And one of the tribes wears fucking these CD necklaces. And I just literally the other day in a co-op game trying to get the very last Chiva I'll talk about here in a second, killed a bunch of them and I was like, are those fucking CDs around their neck? Holy shit. It's just hilarious.
You're like, yo, is this Tupac?
Yeah, it's fucking, yeah, it is. It's the Bling tribe. Anyways, so there's a bunch of tribes and they work on these patrol routes and shit. So there are areas that are a little safer than others because they're kind of off the patrol routes. And this one particular area is that. Plus, it's really, really, there's all the shit stuff. There's a bunch of really nice resources up there. There's a lot of shit growing that's useful. Aloe, which is one of the really sought after plants that you're trying to harvest and always have a nice fucking supply of for healing purposes. There's water, there's whatever. There's a whole bunch of shit up there that's good. And we discovered that and built our camp there in our combo game. So when I beat the game and I was wanted to level up on just my moment to moment whatever playing the game while I finished off the Chivos. I was like, I'm going to move my camp up there. And like, you also find, there's these blueprints you can find for these crazy ass, like you can see in the picture there, the church is one of them. And that's like 300 logs or something. Like it's or no, that one's only, I think, like 100 and something.
Cut down a
but
forest.
there's that huge tower also right there underneath that pretty rainbow, which I've been playing this game like 150 hours and never noticed there's rainbows. And I like turn around and that's above my base the one day. I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Whatever. So, these crazy ass fucking things that you can build that are like, the way they're worked into the story is, well, that's kind of spoilery too. I don't want to get into that, but you find these blueprints are super hard to fucking find, and they're in a place that you wouldn't even fucking try to find. Great. You know, you just, this has to be something that you would just fucking learn trying to find shit on the internet, in my opinion anyways. There's nothing in game that directs you there of substance anyways. So I went out and found all those, got all the weapons that I hadn't been able to find, did all that kind of completionist things, and built this fucking incredible fucking utopia camp here up in the Fertile Lands to work from and get all that done. But going back to the end game, like, this game is fucking raw, man. Like, the whole game is about, I mean, life is frivolous. Like, the cannibals obviously are killing in hordes. They are stringing up and kill, there's all these dead bodies. Death is meaningless in this game, basically. So, like, it's to be expected that it's thematically raw, right?
Right. But
I got to the end of this game in that context, and, like, you're presented with an option, like this binary option that, because the whole purpose of the game is trying to find your kid, right? So when you find your kid, it's not a good situation. It's not just like, oh, Timmy's fine now. It's like there's a problem still. Mm. So they present you with this solution that is fucking crazy. And like, you have to complete the game the real ending where they have like made a cinematic for it. And, like, that's what leads into the next game I've learned. Like, that ending, the true canonical ending, you have to make a choice that is fucking crazy, dude. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, fuck that kid. I can't do that. Like, you say, I don't give a shit it doesn't matter. That's terrible. You cannot make that choice. And have any respect for yourself. I don't care how much you love your kid. There's just no way. You know? But whatever.
Now I want to know what the
it's a great game. And I can tell, I'll get into like going pure multiplayer, just as like, again, trying to stack the last Chivo that's a multiplayer Chivo. And also just like trying to, because you can't, that this game behind me, I haven't played that game in forever because there's nothing left. It's not any fun to that camp is like impenetrable. It's just like a fucking killing alley that the cannibals try to get into this because it's like backed up on a peninsula. So they can't get in from anywhere but like the front, unless they, every now and again, the game will cheat and spawn shit in my camp, but whatever. At this point, I can kill anything with ease between the weapons I have and just the savvy I have. And also VR is a little bit of a hack. I think I mentioned that, how you can fucking attack like without the penalty of stamina, So, there's just no challenge to it. And once I've literally got everything and built everything, there's just nothing to do. So just trying to get more out of the world, and also want that last Chivo. I played a lot of multi stuff, and you can kind of see that, like, just the loop of the game. This game is however fucking old. There's still tons of people playing it in multiplayer because it's like, just it's like cathartic. The building is like a really well done building system that is genuinely cathartic, I think. And like, I've had people come in and they're just like, you can host a game or join other games. The problem with joining other games is the host can leave at any time and you're just fucked. And anything you've done in that world is just gone. So even though I'm just trying to get a fucking Chivo, which is like the last Chivo I need is to master the game is you gotta revive 10 players in co-op. I think I'm up to 4 or 5 or something. So I don't even, like, anything I would build in someone, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? I'm just trying to get really Chivos. Right. But just mentally, I can't deal with it. Like when the fucking thing just goes, and like when the host leaves, it doesn't say like the host has left. It's like the world gets weird. Like the days start happening like super fast. So the sun is just like, woo! And like the shadows are just like going fucking crazy. It's just like a wild ass audio-visual experience when the host like, disappears, you know? Happening? So it's just like, and you're like, and once you know that that's what it is, you're like, what the fuck, man? But like, it's almost like a dagger turn of what you're watching, of how like jarring it is, as opposed to like just, oh, the host left, you know?
Right. Or just
whatever. So I host the games, so people come into my world now just for simplicity, and so I don't get fucked over and have to join games. Because even you know, if that happens, now you like whatever you load into next, you start with nothing every time. Like there's nothing. So like it's just you can't do anything at all of substance or fun if that's happening to you constantly. And also you just never know what you're gonna get. You know, I have a little bit of control, I can boot people, whatever. There's just a lot of reasons why it's obviously advantageous. So but people come in and they're just like, what are you building? Like I just want to build. And it's like they just want to build some shit in your thing, and they're never going to see it again, and whatever. They're just there to, like, do projects, you know? And it's like, that simple existence to me by players, I think, suggests to the merit and the quality of that part of the game. You know what I mean? It is just a really satisfying whatever thing.
That's fair.
So whatever. That's kind of where that's at. The last two I had were, there's that revival thing, and then there's this one, it's called, what is it, Don't Save the Forest, maybe it is, and it's cut down 1,000 trees. And I'm sure it just sounds like a lot as just a number. But dude, it's like, the idea
just like zzz,
oh my god. And you find a chainsaw, and it's funny, I forgot that I had the chainsaw when I was going around, because it wasn't something I was like geared up for or excited about, really.
Yeah.
So I forgot that I'd had it.
Unless you have lumberjack dreams, why would
right. To be honest with you, it occurred to me, I remembered I had it well into the process. And it's not that, especially again, if you're not, it's hard for me to gauge these things because again, I'm not at the mercy of stamina, and cutting down trees is that as well, or it uses that system as well. So the benefit of the chainsaw is probably exponentially greater if I can't just chop as fast as I want anyways, you know, or as fast as my stupid arm can move. So maybe that's part of the lack of excitement about it. But yeah, the point being, I did a lot of it without even using the chainsaw. Probably 90% of it I did. And like I would like do these long ass sessions where I am just out, wasting huge spans of the island, right? And they don't grow back. I have it set so they don't grow back as like part of the whatever difficulty settings. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just like, and like I said, you know, if you really roleplay it, these cannibals, the reason they're fucking hostile is because you're like, what are these assholes doing here? This guy is like fucking up shit. He's cutting down our trees. He's fucking doing a whole bunch of shit that is like fucking up our everything, you know? The role play about just leveling this peninsula is hilarious to me. And it actually aggroes them. They like, that's one of the big things that attracts enemies, trees falling. And they like, if they get there and they like the whole map kind of swarms to it, and they're pissed. They're fucking super pissed. So I'd be out there just wasting trees, and you hear like the call of the leaders, and they do like, that sounds kind of like a bird, and you're like, oh fuck. I gotta kill like 15 cannibals while I'm doing this already stupid project. So it was just a really funny experience, that part of it, going after that. But yeah, man, I cut it. The amount, I could not believe how many trees it felt like. Like I would do long sessions and then log off, and it like takes a little bit for the counter and the
this sounds like
Chivo.
Work, Josh. Like,
I can just... dude, yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what most
I mean, like worse than grinding, you know, where at least.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm playing that Dragon Warrior 2 right now too, and one of the Chivos in there is getting your hero to 30, and you do not need that to be. Well, I don't know. Maybe you do need to beat the game. I don't know. I think I ended up at like level 35 or something when I beat it the first time, and Roan was still shitty. The cave to Roan was still shitty, so whatever. The point being, like, that is also, it's the same thing. Probably more time, even, and I don't know, debatable whether more or less fun, but Whatever. Just that was such an undertaking getting that 1,000 tree one. And yeah, there's just the last one of the 100% to 100% the baby. Nice. And then I can move on to Sons of the Forest finally. Although that is a VR thing that's not clean. I downloaded it. I bought it on sale. Got it for like $5, which was great, of course. And because I saw there was a VR mod for it, but it's not like clean like the base game VR mod. So I haven't gotten to work well yet. And it's in Unity too, which is like a rarer game engine these days, as my fucking stock that I bought of it suggests its performance over the last couple of years. So that also is complicating too. So it's not just UEVR, and there's just less shit about it out there. So that's not even clean. And I actually saw at the Game Awards, they announced a third game for it too. And it's like set in space this time. So that is interesting. But gotta get to work on that, I guess. So there's that, and then before I probably go back into the forest, though, there's a few backlog things. I want to get Half-Life Alyx done. I have been playing that. I'm pretty sure I'm in the last chapter. Great game. Still terrifying times. I almost jumped out of my shit the other night. Terrified Amy and fucking Miyagi. So I could play that one sitting down. Someone's like on the couch in that case. Nice. I was like, oh my fucking god! Like there's these fucking bug things in the in-game chapters that are like come out of nowhere and fast as fuck and are whatever hard and big and scary. So that's so great. I don't know. It's like you can feel the age on it, and like the story is like very AAA studio. Like, fuck off, man. Dad, save the whatever. It's just like not the best story, but the gameplay is fucking top shelf. So that's good. I played that on Packing Game. We talked about that a little bit. I mean, that was literally the Watch Out for Fireballs podcast did an episode on it, and I was like, oh, I can tell this is fucking up my alley and a half. To the point where I didn't even finish the podcast. Like when they got to the spoiler gate, I was like, stop. I will come back after I play it. And also got that on set. I mean, it was a few, $10 or something, cheap as fuck. It's very indie developer, one developer situation.
Support the indies.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really cozy experience. Yep. I mean, I played it to 100%. It's not, I mean, you kind of can't not play it to 100% if you play the story. It's just like, all the Chibos are just, it's super simple. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, to explain the game setup, like, you are shown these, well, you start in just one room. It's your parents' your bedroom at your parents' house that you grew up in. Yep. And it's like, I think you are actually a child at the beginning, right? Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, you're just like, and the whole thing is you're like moving into the room and there are a bunch of boxes and you open the box and you just take things out of the box one by one and put them in places. And it's like, it should not be fun. It's work. It's like for a lot of people, I think it definitely takes a certain type of whatever brain pan to be into it. A lot of people, I think, would look at it and be like, this is a job.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no way. No fucking way.
I definitely had moments of pulling it out and then kind of going through it and then like, am I having fun?
Right. Yeah.
Even I kept coming, but then I.
Yeah, the WAF guys, even the one in particular, Cole, I think, he hates working video. He hates games that like make him do jobs. So his big thing was the books, which I agree. It is like a reoccurring, cause like and that is honestly where the game shines, is because it's an amazing job of environmental storytelling in that, there's all these, so you start as a child, so there's all these little like tchotchkes and even books. And, over the years, yes, new things come in, but there's these things that she keeps throughout her life. Yep. And I was really blown away by the emotional impact of,
because she goes
taking that one, the trip, the little Eiffel Tower thing that she gets when she takes the trip in college there. So that's there the rest of her life. And like, I was really impressed with the ability to pluck emotional strings just by the existence and through line of these little keepsakes in her life, and then they also, I guess
like removing pictures of people when things
and like, and it's funny too, to complete certain things. There's the one where she has the bad breakup and you have to do the thing with the like you have to do something funny with the picture.
Yeah. I was stuck on that for a while. Like, what am I missing?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was
for sure.
yeah, I get it.
Don't want to look at that. Yeah. So like, yeah, it's a lot of shit like that. And like, there's, like even things because it doesn't, there's no hold handy at all to it. So hand-holdy to it at all. So like, if you don't take the time to think about it and like whatever, you'll miss like part of the story, and it is unapologetic about letting you do that, which I love in games. So like there's a thing, like there's a physical condition that is you're never hit over the head with, but she develops a physical condition, a medical issue that is subtly hinted at in the adult phases of her life. And like I didn't even pick up on that until the very end of the game, basically, So yeah, there's just a lot of little shit that's really well done, and the life choices she makes and shit, and like, the dichotomy of like when she moves in with the boyfriend post college that has way more dough than her, and it's like, it was amazing how like, oh wow, she is so out of place here, and like, and there's not enough. She's moving into his place, so there's not enough room for her shit. You have to like put things in like unpleasant places for like that you wouldn't want that to be, There's not enough room to hang her shit on the wall. Like it's just like, it's like really well done job of like, just like and like, I just couldn't believe how much I was able to, 'cause it's a woman that I probably have very little in common with. And like, it was amazing how connective it was to how much I thought about me moving into my different phases of my life, the physically moving into them. You know what I mean? Yeah. College apartments, and like the first time I moved in with a girl, and blah, 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 like all that shit. I couldn't believe how well I was able to emotionally connect my life to that as I played. And that, it was really fucking good job. And the WAF guys were right that it was up my alley. So yeah, just really, really good. So cannot recommend that enough. I think there's even a mobile. I told Amy, I was like, you got to play this game. Like this is, 100% certain she fucking loves that Animal Crossing type shit. Yeah. And also I think it's obvious that it's even going to be even more emotionally connective, I think, for a woman, just by nature of the fact that that's what the lead character is. So yeah. And I think I told us like, I think there's a mobile version. You can play it on your phone, and it'll be a fine experience because it is just point and click, moving stuff around, So probably it actually might be better.
Probably might be, yeah.
Yeah, because that was definitely, there were times where I was like, God damn it with this fucking controller. Playing it on Steam with a...
I don't know. I had no issues with the controller, personally.
Because I mean, these rooms, you like have to like... Yeah. You're trying to put things in you're like putting, there's minutia and a half. Like putting the socks and the underwear and the fucking drawers and shit. And like, there's a lot of like little, very precise shit that like just tapping that stupid ass stick on a controller is not perfect for. So if you could just directly point with a mouse type, a cursor type situation, I can't imagine it's not more pleasant in that regard.
I don't know.
But very good. Very, very good. Ultimately is the takeaway, I think, to be had. Played a little bit of Civ 7 again over the holidays. Amy and I got into some multiplayer situations. It was funny to me. I opened it up and like looked at our last save game. It was in April. So we hadn't played this game for like 8 months, And needless to say, there's been a million updates. I've been seeing that was kind of the catalyst for us. Like we were like, whatever, looking for something to do. My emulator got weird on 64 games for some reason. It's not emulating like a lot of the like Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey, like those like Rare and Nintendo games that are kind of those open world, they're all kind of the same format, for some reason, all those are fucking not emulating properly. All of a sudden, there's no reason for it, but that fucked up our Banjo-Kazooie game, so we were looking for something. We decided to play some Civ 7. I'd been seeing all those updates, and I was like, well, let's see, if they've fixed it. I didn't think it was, I gave the whole diatribe when it first came out. I don't think the tectonic shifts are necessarily bad. They are very different. There are some frustrating things about it just because of they're taking things away from you at times. And that is not really historically what Civ has been about, Unless you're like a really war-focused Civ player, Civ is all about just building in a linear track, just bigger, better, more, and Civ 7 at the end of these 3 eras takes shit from you and puts the kibosh on that feeling, that emotional whatever. So that, I think, has turned a lot of Civ players off. And there's been some, I can't remember it, each, and I didn't make lists or anything, but there's definitely things, some of that they've watered down a little bit in the last 8 months. So they're listening
to the community.
Yeah, they're listening. It's still different though, very different for sure than the previous games. So they haven't totally given up on the effort.
Is there a narrative difference that like makes it so that would make sense?
Well, yes, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that is what I think that is the core kernel of what they're trying to do with it. I think they were trying to make it less of just a sandbox, again, linear experience where you're just either building or destroying. Right. And like they've tried to put all these, it's like any video game like this though. You can, if you play it enough, you can see the fucking construct and you're still just picking numbers. Ultimately, they're trying to make it story based and less about the math underneath, at least on the surface, and give it like a narrative significance. So you maybe feel a moralistic inclination to make a choice instead of just like, oh, I want more science right now. Not instead of more culture, I'm going to pick the science one. It's like, no, read it. What they want you to do is read it. And like, what do you, within the role play of this civilization, think is right? Or best for civilization.
Would that be like, if you choose more science, like you automatically lose your churches and your religious whatever?
Well, I mean, that is, yes, that is so maybe
lower or something else because of that.
They do make you make opportunity cost choices as well, for sure. And I think there's more of that. So that, and honestly, that's how they are hedging this idea a little bit, is there is still a math.
Okay.
Give and take, but there are situations still though, where they give you this fucking story blurb to read and you're like, okay, I'm presented with 2 choices, but it's just ultimately they can't not tell you, or people will lose their fucking minds, that like this choice gives you 300 fucking science, this choice gives you 300 culture, Right. And you don't always have like, oh, I lose this too. I mean, you do lose opportunity cost in that case of like, you're not getting, and like, that's maybe not what we're saying, but like, it's hard to say for sure, but a lot of these are probably presented to every player as you play. You know what I mean? Like these things are like, so it's just, you're going to get all these choices and like how you choose them is you're going to get them every time. It's not like a random event kind of, at least I don't think. Yeah. I wouldn't guess. Maybe it is. I would rather it be. I would rather feel like every experience is completely different, But then you have the balancing issue, and especially if you're playing multiplayer, people are going to bitch. Like there's just a lot of things about that are probably hard to implement as whatever well as it could be. But yeah, I mean, we played 2 whole games and it is still like, can't turn this shit off. Can't turn it off. Got to keep whatever 2 whole games in like a matter of like maybe a week, and it's just, and it's, long. Those ages are long, man. It's a long ass game still. So the morphine drip is still in the game, in the gameplay, whether or not it's the exact thing maybe that you think of Civ as historically. It definitely still has the one more turn bullshit. She was like, we played the first game and she was pissed. She's like, you gotta be fucking cheating. She's like, I never thought about it, but like, it's like, we've been playing this game for a decade, or these games for a decade. I was like, I've never won. And I was like, well, Amy, like, you've played with me however many times that is. I was like, do you realize I probably have 10,000 hours in Civ in my life? Like, this shit is like, you just cannot imagine how much more I see the Matrix every time this game turns on. Like, it's just not fair, the experience differential. So that's
you guys
probably
can't co-op? Like, play co-op instead of...
I mean, you could, but that wouldn't be any fun. I mean, not like, well, I mean, as like, 2 different civilizations, you could, yeah, and we kind of do. I'm not just like fucking, I don't just like roll in and level or civilization or anything. No, I don't do that. But like, it's like, the wonders, like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really, I for the most part, it's funny, the past 2 games, I've kind of got more, maybe that's a thing too in this new game. You get like the diplomacy aspect of it is very different, and you're not going to be able to maintain peace with everyone. There's like a really heavy dependence on like ideological differences, and that forcing
conflict,
creating conflict between ideologically different civilizations that you kind of can't avoid, you know? And, you know, I mean, even though I don't want to, I'd rather just build, but if you fucking roll in and just start attacking me because you don't like the fact that I don't want to fucking be a heretic fucking religious or civilization, like, I'm going to turn you into a parking lot. You know, so like, that, like, you know, that has happened, and I have like went on major military campaigns in both of these last two games. So that's not necessarily indicative of my whatever. But even normally, yeah, like we're usually like, you know, fighting over the wonders, and like I'm really heavy on I want the wonders. And this game, like, that's the thing too. Like wonders have been kind of changed too. There's so many now. It's not as, I don't know. They're not as OP like to get wonders. There's so many, and they're so varied, and I think they're kind of nerfed in their benefits for that reason, because there's the sheer number more of them that it maybe creates a little bit more of a level playing field. But historically, like I very focused on wonders because they're, you know, I just know that like, oh, there's tech tree things. They're going to give me advantages for building one. Like I know all that shit. So like she doesn't know that thing, a lot of those things in the comparatively limited amount of time, you know. But yeah, the whole point being, this last game she won. She won for the first time in like a decade of playing it, and yeah, she was.
I don't know if she was reading strategies.
Oh, she was. I could see her over there on her phone. I could see her over there on her phone. Yeah, she's like. Yeah, 100%.
Like, okay. I thought we were just playing around, Josh.
Exactly right. Yeah, next game, she was going to get serious. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So yeah, I played that a little bit of the holidays, and as far as again getting the forest out of the way, other than that one Chivo backlog shit, I want to finish off Half-Life Alyx, get that Arcane Age game done, and then my backlog will be kind of washed, and I can start looking at new things. I actually clocked. I've had Satisfactory. Are you familiar with that?
No. What is that?
It is I think it's an indie developer, but it's a very well revered. I think it's won a lot of awards. It's kind of like, at least to my understanding, I haven't even played it yet, and I don't, you know, I'm not watching any videos. I heard Wolf actually did an episode on it as well. I think maybe that's where I got wind of it, but it's like kind of like a puzzler, like a first person puzzler builder kind of game. It's like a futuristic factory thing, I think, that you like oversee and build and whatever. And there's like a narrative storyline built into that kind of system, you know, which is, again, it's the forest, basically just a different setting is kind of what it sounds like. But it's very well revered. I can tell it's fucking exactly my thing.
All I heard is you're a factory worker. I'm like, huh?
Not a worker. You are like,
or a factory manager. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, that's all any of these. The forest is. You're a forest fucking encampment manager is all that is, you know. And Subnautica, you're just a fucking you're a sea base manager that has like you trying to get off the planet. Also, you know, there's like the moment to moment gameplay of it is just managing some building system, you know, in all these games. Fallout 4 is the same thing. You're building either your base or your village. You go out and you do missions too. But you're just accumulating shit to take back. All these games are that, Jay. I don't know if I need to explain that to you, but this is another one of those, very well revered. I didn't know that there was a VR thing. I actively thought there wasn't actually. I thought I had done research and not found one. And I saw a post on Twitter from one of the VR whatever, the websites do news and shit. And they were like teasing actually Zelda Breath of the Wild coming out in VR.
Really?
Which I can't believe I didn't even have my notes that happened. I tried to do it. I can't get it to work. It's very frustrating. There was so many things I had to do. And I felt like I got past so many of the hurdles. And then it won't, like the very last thing, it won't run. And it's really depressing. Sad. But they were teasing that, like, and they know the magnitude of this happening. Any Nintendo game, let alone Zelda. Any major Nintendo game, let alone Zelda. So they were like teasing it as like some major VR shit's happening, and I just commented like, Satisfactory, right? And they write back, they're like, oh, Satisfactory's got a fucking dope ass like It's like UEVR plus someone's done, kind of like with Subnautica, how like I told you have like, you can UEVR anything, but that's what Sons of the Forest problem is. It's like all fucked up still, or RoboCop rather, it kind of worked and then it's not working now. And I troubleshot it and it's just a pain in the ass. But someone's like done the extra work to make it like kind of a turnkey VR mod for Satisfactory, I guess. And it's like been updated a few times even. So I guess that exists. And they're like, that exists, asshole. And I was like, oh my God. So now that I think is probably going to be, after I get this backlog cleaned out, that will be the next thing.
Nice.
So that's the gaming shit. Chivo Hunt. I went back and polished off Karnoff. So the game was good enough to get me to go back and do that. Softcore. Finished the last few Chivos I needed. The perfect run on stage 4 and the 2 T-Rex squabs. I went back and did those clean to finish that off. Dragon Warrior 2 still going on. Actually, the worst thing for an anal retentive BB stacker like me ever. So I'm playing, Dragon Warrior 2, however many hours goes into that, right? I mean, I'm like, right now, I'm basically about to head to Rome. That's where I'm at. And so, I'm in like the last 15, 20%, So in the like early previous 20%, so I would say I'm about 60% of the game. For whatever reason, it was probably playing one of those Karnov or something, toggling the hardcore mode off in retro arc. For retro achievements, you can toggle that, so like whether or not you can use save states, basically. I have it set so when I close it, it automatically toggles back to hardcore, so I don't have this happen, but for some reason or another, that didn't work out. And I turn on Dragon Warrior, and it was the heal all spell. So like every spell you get for every new time you get it, there's some redundancy in the spells between the princess and the prince of Canuck, but every time you get a new spell, that's one of the Chivos, right? You can obviously only get that spell once. You can't fix that, once you do it. And you also, I can't even hit reset because the Chivo it's queued. Like once you do the Chivo once, it doesn't matter your save game. It's like if you've ever done it playing the game, unless you reset all the Chivos for a game manually, the box is checked. It was on softcore mode. So basically, I have one Chivo in this grand fucking Chivo fucking set that's gonna be softcore unless I can figure and it makes me, dude, I am so embarrassed that I'm gonna do this. And the email's not written yet, of course, but like, I'm gonna send an email to these fucking people and like, listen, I know this is so pathetic that I'm asking you to do this, that it matters to me, that I'm taking time out of your life, that I'm taking time out of my life.
My God,
I was like, but look, I was like, it's obvious that the other 72 of 73 Chivos are hardcore mode. This one meaningless spell in the middle of the game, heal all. Like, I clearly am not cheating and trying to circumvent the hardcore Chivo thing, I was like, can you please switch it over to hardcore so I can feel good about myself? So I'm going to ask them for this. And once I'm all done, I'm actually going to email them and ask them to try to switch it over, which makes me so sad inside that that's a plan of mine. But yeah, it was hilarious how debilitating of a moment it was. Like, I saw it pop up and it says there's like a little message. And it might not even been that. It's just like, whenever I noticed it, it was just like my heart dropping. Like, oh my God, there's no way to fix that. That's such a dumb thing to do to myself. So yeah, super fucking stupid. So there's that. And then the last day I got on Christmas Eve and day, I got a hair up my ass to start digging on some 2600 Chivos. And I ended up mastering Ghostbusters boxing and trying to finish Keystone Capers and Battlezone. Ghostbusters, dude. Ghostbusters is a fucking great Atari game. I've always thought that. Dude. I have always thought that 2600 game was very good. Which is funny, because I could never get anywhere on OG hardware because it has this requirement where you need to switch the difficulty switches real time while playing the game. Like, basically, when Stay Puft attacks, you buy this bait from the shop, right?
Right.
And when Stay Puft attacks, you need to hit the difficulty switch a certain way on the back of the console to activate the bait, because you obviously only have one button, and you need to use that button to go into the buildings on the map when you are playing. So the only way to ward off Stay Puft, which late game, he's going to come multiple times, right? You know, and when he does that, if you don't use the bait and get him to fuck off before he stomps on a bunch of buildings, they take $2,000 from you each time. So basically, I've never beaten the game because I can't do that fast enough. Because you don't know when it's going to happen, and the back of as a kid, I just couldn't do it. Whatever the reason, I couldn't fucking do it. So I never got anywhere, but I still thought it was a great fucking game. And now, clearly, you can just map that as a button on your controller. So now when Stay Puft comes, I was able to just go beep, beep, hit the button, and like, boop, he fucks off, and then you make $2,000, you know, instead of them taking it from you. So like, I was able to fucking cook the game, basically. I mean, the first time I got to the end of it, where Stay Puft is jumping back and forth. You got to run underneath his legs is the end game thing. So like you have 3 Ghostbusters, and you got to get 2 of them through to succeed at that. And like I got the first one, missed the second one, got the third one, beat the game the first time. So I was able to master that, which was really satisfying. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, for like being on the 2600, it is a really complex fucking business simulation. Of running and stuff, starting a Ghostbusting business and fucking and running it in a, you know, archaic ass video game context. It's a really fucking good game. It's so much better than the NES one. You know, the NES one is fucking broke, the first Ghostbusters. Well, both of them. Ghostbusters 2 sucks also for different reasons, but going up those stairs and shit, and it sucks ass on the NES game as the end game sequence. So yeah, this one is better than that, I think.
Dude, I played the 2600 one so much. Obviously, having a 2600 so much. I think like my aunt played with me most of the time. Like, because I'm trying to think, it obviously would have been before my little brother, not him. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I ever beat it. I can't imagine having beat it.
I mean, dude,
honestly,
clearly sitting there as an adult playing it, and you can look at it, whatever. Thinking about like, giving this cart to a 7-year-old and like no parent to help them is insane. It's like, because it's a fucking business simulation. And like the idea that you have to like make all these responsible decisions, make good purchases, not waste money on things that you don't need, and like blah 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 blah. And again, working out the buttons on the back, the switches on the back, all of it is like such a complex thing. It's the same reason I never got anywhere in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Sword Quest, none of those games. Like, they were fascinating to me. Like, the complexity was so intriguing to me. I had the curiosity, but I did not have the toolbox to actually navigate them in any way, shape, or form.
Actually, you know, it's funny. It's been so long since I've looked at this game. Like, I may have beat the game, because I do remember running under, like, having to run under him.
Okay, then yeah, like, that's the end thing.
So maybe
that's it. And it's like, I was actually surprised to learn that it just loops, because one of the Chivos was having 9 traps, right? And when you start the game anew, you don't have enough money to buy 9 traps. Like, you just don't have enough money. So I was playing the game, I was like, how the fuck do you get that? Even if you buy all traps at the start, you don't have enough. It's because when the game loops, you keep your money. So that's how you like get really a high ass amount of money, is when you loop the game, you have more money going back to that store.
Right.
And you can buy that many traps at that time. So yeah, really. And that changes the game too. It was amazing how much whatever is, because it makes the game easier, because you don't run out of traps as fast. You can go back, you know. So it's just like, I was surprised at, again, how much, more play value there is to it if you're able to beat it and do that Stay Puft shit, you know. It's not just such a short game loop in that case. So that also is good and impressive for 2600 games that don't necessarily have that, you know. So yeah, just I couldn't understand it in full, being able to fix the dumbass technical problem, like, incredibly enjoyable experience, and I was so satisfied with it. And I, like, vindicated this, like, bubbling feeling I thought I had from childhood, because a lot of people talk shit about it and say it's like, because it's not even a Ghostbusters game, it's a business simulator, they, like, just slapped the Ghostbusters IP on, kind of, you know, David Crane did. So a lot of people talk shit about that game, and they're fucking wrong.
As a kid, I liked it as a kid, so whatever.
So last thing, then we can get on with our lives here, is the X-Men quest, Jay, that you have now joined. What did you, so you read 287, you sent me the cover for that. How much of the, because I ended up getting up to, actually, last night, I'm like right at the cusp of Fatal Attractions. I read 303 last night, which is another Scott Lobdell banger, actually. as far as the writing goes that we can talk about. But yeah, 303 on Uncanny, and I think 23. It's like July.
Oh, you're 23.
90.
I think I looked up to like 17 on.
Well, that was the.
X-Men.
I have read more obviously since I sent that, but the gist is in there. So yeah, so I mean on the Uncanny side, 288 to 294 deals with this Colossus's long lost brother thing. He gets kind of deranged and breaks bad, and that
It's
leads.
a weird storyline to me.
It is. Well, I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff happening in this era that I can't believe was going on right before Fatal Attractions, when my like mental remembrance of reading X-Men comics kind of begins as a kid ish. I mean, I wasn't even that young. I was like fucking 12 or 13 when this was happening, when I really got into them. But yeah, super weird, because I mean, it leads into, he essentially starts a suicide cult. He turns the Morlocks into a suicide cult, and Callisto comes back, and like, I don't even remember this happening. Crazy. Maybe it didn't happen in the X-Men comics. There's a very good chance that it could have been in one of the other books that I wasn't reading when it happened. But Callisto, I guess, like got pretty somehow.
Yeah,
she like
Callisto was like out.
Yeah, okay. She like somehow was able to not be ugly anymore, and that's like the whole shtick of the Morlocks is they're like physically unable to participate in society because of either disfigurements or just whatever
because
about
they're
them
mutant. Yeah, because of their mutant ability. Instead of just like, hey, I'm Storm, I can now control weather, but I'm beautiful. It's like, I'm a mutant and I have like 5 eyes, and society hates me, so
or half my face is fucking dripping down, right?
So we're living underneath the ground together, like, and Callisto was like their leader. And she got pretty, and so she said, "Fuck this! Like, I'm out. Like, I'm living amongst normal society."
Which is hilarious,
right?
You know, because her whole thing was like. There was like the early Morlock stories were like all built on like this honor thing. Like the whole like the Storm became like they had to like fight, and there was like this honor, like Storm and Callisto, I mean, fought because some like honor system bullshit, and the idea that Callisto would just like flip her script in a fucking heartbeat the second she doesn't have the problem that the entire organization is founded upon is a hilarious turncoat situation.
But also, like, it kind of makes sense when you think of, like, even X-Men and comics over the years, like some of the X-Men, like Beast and even Rogue and others who've just been, like, toyed with the idea of, like, I wish I could take this mutant, like, this serum that humans are creating to get rid of my mutant ability. Because I just really, you know, or Mystique, you know, somebody who just, like, I really hate the way it
manifests.
Yeah, how this manifests, and I wish I could get rid of it, when others like Magneto would be like, how dare you, you know,
right,
be proud of it. So it kind of makes sense that there's Morlocks, you know, same thing.
Yep.
You just never know underneath all that how people.
Yeah, the idealistic undercurrents of all of it's always great. That's the thing that makes X-Men what it is. We've talked about that a million times. It's just the moment to moment, like their ability to tie it to characters and their ability to like make that, I don't know if realistic is the right word, but their ability to like really tie it into like a comic book storyline is sometimes hilarious. This is an instance of that, I think. But whatever. She comes back. She's pretty now. Or she is not pretty now after she had been, and she's pissed. She thinks, and I wasn't even able to really gather why, but she blames Professor X and or the X-Men, so she's trying to get back at them for that, and she kind of like, that's tied in with the Colossus brother thing, and kind of becoming the suicide cult, and yada yada yada. He ends up flooding, his power, Colossus' brother, I mean, is like able to somehow, I think he can like manipulate physical objects in some way, shape, or form, whatever. But he's able to like essentially rip the fucking plug out of a water pipe in the East River sewers that the Morlocks live in, and flood them. And he just just kills them all. Like,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's like not. They don't collectively decide it as a group. He just fucking does it, and like. It's the first time. I have a few talking points on this, but it's the first time, and I actually should go back and see who's writing there and see if Scott's there yet. But it's the first time where I was like, not to the extreme that I'll talk about for these other 2 issues that were really heavy in this, but like it was the first time I was like, felt like a little bit of an emotional twing. I was like, that's fucked up. You know, like most of everything I've read up until that point, 280 something issues. This is like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's all just really bad writing and really comic booky, and no, I'm not able to root it in any real human emotion at all. But that was the first time where I was like, they did a good enough job of making that feel real, where I was somewhat emotionally affected by it. So that was obviously a positive to feel that way. And then here we have Forge gives up on Storm. They had like their relationship had been budding forever. You know, that had been like a thing that had been kind of cooking. You know, Storm's like fucking super independent woman, can't fucking, not gonna do it kind of thing. That's always like the problem. Forge is like head over heels, let's do it. And Storm's always whatever, my duty, this and that, all this bullshit. So he ends up just being like, well, fuck you then, fine. You're never gonna do it. You're never gonna leave. You're never gonna be able to. Like, yeah, that's but
I did think that how it's done though, because he asked her and then doesn't give her the opportunity to act.
Right, I was gonna say, yeah, the actual
unless her not answering immediately was like the telling thing.
Well, just the general sense of like his choice being that you have to leave. Like he wants to leave and get out of this game. Basically, he wants to leave the game, and yeah, he basically, on top of making that own personal major life choice, just tells her like now or never. You got to do it too. And like, she doesn't even say no. Yeah. Right? Yeah. She doesn't even say no. She just doesn't immediately say yes, basically. And he's like, well, fuck you then. And, and fucking leaves. And yeah.
I never liked their relationship anyway. So I was just like, whatever.
No.
Like,
Forge in general, man. He kind of.
He's whack to me.
Yeah,
like,
he kind of
his
sucks.
power, yes, it's useful. Don't get me wrong. But as a character,
I can't believe how important it seems to be in these last 30 issues.
That's what I mean. Like,
to me, Forge was like, I always thought of Forge as like this ancillary, meaningless ass character. And when he kept popping up in the first 200 something issues, I was like, God, fuck, this guy, what is he still here for? He's meaningless.
That's what I mean. His power is useful. They made his power useful, but I just don't like him. Like, as a character, there's never been a reason. He's never done anything. There's never been anything about him that's drawn me to him to be like, ooh, wow, right. Forge.
Well, honestly, part of that
off for some reason.
Part of that is I don't think they've ever done anything to develop his character. He has honestly been the antithesis of the Bechdel test, or the opposite of the Bechdel test, basically, which is like, the film TED. Are you familiar with this? Yeah, the film. So like, yeah, basically, in a scene in a movie, if you're unfamiliar as a listener, if you look at a scene in a movie or a movie in general, and like basically, do the female characters, do they stand on their own, or are they just a function of the male characters? In that they either serve the storyline for the male character, or they make their decisions as a function of the male's storyline. Like, or are they making independent decisions for their own interesting storyline benefit? Is kind of probably a poor way of describing it. But he's basically the opposite of that. Is like he has no actual identity. He's just this love interest device that allows Storm to be this uber independent. I don't have to be whatever.
I was over it.
Yeah.
I was over it.
And it's funny too, like it's funny Bishop tries to swoop in low key as fuck the second Forge is out of the picture on that.
Right? Like, hey.
There's a lot of that.
I liked Bishop too, so to me, like, I really liked, like, as a young African American, like, I really liked Bishop. He was cool. Like, I like his appearance and all that. So, like, I really enjoyed this time in the comics. And so I'm like, hell yeah, swoop in there.
I always thought
around, then hey.
Yeah, to me, I mean, does he go away? He goes away at Fatal Attractions or something, doesn't he? Because I feel like to me, he was just a dude from the cartoon. In my mind, he was not like a big part of the comics when I think of it. And yeah, he is like the crux kind of
no, he comes and goes, man. He's there from here. Like, it depends on like what writer, what story arc you're using. You know what I mean? But otherwise, yeah, like he's.
Yeah, it's a huge part of what's going on now.
Like they said, you're officially an X-Man now. Even though he's struggling with what that means. Like they make him cooler, like in other variations and future things. Like
he's definitely cool. Like the little battles with Gambit and shit. Yeah, he's definitely they sell him as a badass for sure. And then 293, Well, this is like the leading into Executioner's Song, which Executioner's Song I told you is like, I collected them. I maybe never read them. It was just like a collection thing that I started after, because I was reading the comics after this, and I was like, that happened right before, and there was like, it's a 12-part series, and so I was trying to gather them all, I remember. But I didn't remember the storyline of it, and 293 kind of is leading into that. When that Morlock shit is going on, Archangel goes back to the site where the Reavers crucified him, you know? And he's having that little fucking introspective, dark-ass place that Jean Grey kind of rips him out of, and... yeah, I was expecting that would be, like, essentially the lead-in, knowing that Apocalypse is such a big part of the Executioner's Song. I assumed that was, like, whatever, kind of the key to getting into that. And honestly, I wouldn't say it really manifested in that way. There is, like, the end of Executioner's Song is this Archangel Apocalypse moment that, like, it's like this moment where he was crucified gets us into it, and you feel like the whole thing's going to be about that, and it isn't really.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but they do still have the end moment end up being kind of what you thought it would all lead to, even though the everything between is not really connective, in my opinion. He is, the whole time Executioner's Song is going on, he is just kind of muttering to himself how he's going to kill Apocalypse, you know, and the end moment in Executioner's Song is him making that moralistic choice that, like, no, I'm not going to stoop to your level. I am better than this. I'm not what you wanted, blah, 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 you know. So that is there, but I didn't feel like it was all about that. Like it was like this, like the two endpoints kind of suggest it should have been, you know. But yeah, that does fire up. And then that is a lot of wild shit. You got Mr. Sinister, you got Apocalypse shit, you got Cable supposedly popping a cap on Professor X, and Cyclops and Jean getting human trafficked by Mr. Sinister. And then, like, dude, when Apocalypse flipped his script and fucking started helping him out, I was floored. I could not believe that was happening. Like, that was inconceivable to me. And, like, you know, I don't have, like, my knowledge of that, of Apocalypse's existence is kind of just that Four Horsemen thing. And, like...
oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't have maybe, like, a fully fleshed out idea of what he meant to the story universe. But I knew he was, like, unequivocally bad. And, like, the idea that he would kind of fucking just be like, you know what, fine, I'll help you. It's going to be on my terms. You know, I'm going to do it my way, but I am going to help you. And honestly, I'm probably your only solution here, you know. It was really interesting and surprising to me. So I didn't see that coming, I guess, is maybe the point. And that was kind of impressive that they were able to do that.
I like that because, you know, Apocalypse has always been this anti-hero. Like, yes, like if you just watched shitty movies like X-Men Apocalypse, you know, like, or whatever it was called, that he was the main villain, like he's just a villain. Whereas like often you'll see him as this, I'm on the side in Krakoa era, like I'm with the mutants, I'm with, you know, for the greater
well, yes, I mean, he's like the uber mutant, basically.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's interesting when you learn that he's more complex than kind of just standard bad guy, you know, with bad evil aims.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that Executioner Song shit comes to a head and reveals that Cable is just a Temu version of the actual big baddie here, Strife, and both are genetic offshoots of Cyclops and Jean Grey. Which I always kind of knew that Cable, there was something about like in that vein.
Like he's supposed to be their son, supposedly.
Right.
But
that changes. That's not how it ends up manifesting. I mean, the end of it is, you know, basically Cable sacrificing himself to also take out Strife. And he makes Cyclops make that decision, basically. Like, do the thing that actually kills him, even though Cyclops kills both, even though Cyclops knows that they are his kids. So he basically forces Cyclops to make this ultra fucking difficult decision. And I can see, I mean, that's still, even at 303, that's kind of, he's back in the cabin in fucking Alaska with his parents or whatever, like talking through that right now where I'm at. So I can tell that that's not a sailed ship entirely. There's something else is going to come out of that. I mean, obviously Cable's got to come back. I can see him on the cover of some of these Fatal Attraction things. So Cable's about to come back one way or another. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that clearly wasn't actually final. I'm guessing probably Strife isn't either. So we shall see. But that all leads to the biggest, to me, most impressive thing about this whole fucking read so far, this epic quest, is the Executioner's Song End. X-Men Uncanny 297 is the one. It's a lot. It's kind of just like a breath issue where we've come out of that big thing. You have Rogue and Gambit, their relationship, kind of the difficulties of like not being able to physically touch, but Gambit's still aggressively going after her, and she's pissed off because basically just sexually frustrated that she can't accept the
relationship issue. That's
right, precisely, and whatever. That's that I know is always the thing that was in the cartoons and shit as well. But that's going on. It's kind of like a much less important thing, or at least interesting thing in my opinion. But the big thing going on in that issue is Jubilee and Professor X are kind of spending the day together, and the Executioner's Song crux is that Professor X has this techno whatever virus that has him on the brink of death that comes out of, I think, Strife. Yeah. Or whatever, Strife posing his cable, however the fuck it happened. That's what he's dealing with that. And coming out of that, he's able to walk again for whatever reason. Like something about that techno virus gave him the ability to walk again. So he's still walking right now. And he's out literally in the yard of the mansion, barefoot, just feeling the grass on his feet.
Looking strong, too. They got him.
Right, yeah. They had superhero shot. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So Jubilee bumps into him while he's doing this. And they do a really good, even that, like the setup of it. So, man, whatever. This is probably a high level, one, obvious, but two, like good storytelling gives you these like little tangible things. You're able to connect to these little moments, and like comics do a very bad job of that. It's just superheroes blowing shit up, whatever. Generally speaking, comics do a very bad job of storytelling in like putting you in the place of these things, because how can you relate to a fucking superhero? So, it's probably not even really a realistic goal in a lot of cases, but that's kind of the thing that's why this is such a great issue, is Professor X is out having this very human moment where he is, and they like give you the tactileness of the grass, feeling the grass on his feet and the ability to walk again. And he's talking to Jubilee and just kind of explaining that like he knows that this is a temporary thing. Mara, whatever, McTaggart, the Dr. Banshee's wife, explained to him that this is going to be a finite window and a relatively short one. So he's out just enjoying the last moments of this, the ability to walk again and being able to feel the grass on his feet and yada yada. And him and Jubilee start talking about this, and he kind of explains that a little bit. That's like a really great moment of him trying to just explain to her how like, yes, like I've done all these things. There's all these things about my life that I love, but I would trade it all to be able to walk again, because it's just such a fucking, to be able to take care of yourself. And like, that's so relatable that like the idea, one of my biggest fears probably is that the idea of like not being able to wash my own ass, take care of myself is like a terrifying thought, and having to rely on someone else and not be able to do simple, basic human life things is a really big fear of mine. So maybe that's why this is an impactful thing too. But like, he's conveying that to Jubilee, who's very young. So like, there's that dynamic too of like her not even being able to understand like the finality of life, and that's all baked into there really well. And she ends up convincing him to like just like go out and rollerblade with her and shit. So she puts him in rollerblades, and like this is like a little bit kind of goofy at times, but that's kind of the goal, is like getting a fish out of water feel on Professor X, this character who is normally like very buttoned up and leadery and da-da-da. So she's got him, like she pushes him into the water and shit and like all this stuff. And I'm kind of choking up now. I'm not just like thinking about getting to the end of it. But so that happens, and the day's winding down, sun's kind of setting, and they're having whatever little conversation they're having that's still kind of in the same button. And I forget what he was trying to instill in her. I can't remember the lesson he was necessarily teaching her, but whatever. They finish talking, and he's like, I'm going to head back in now. I think he's like planning to take a bath or something, something like that. And she's watching him go. It's sunset, and she's just thinking of like, I hope he can make it. I hope that, just like, she's literally asking God, like, just let the motherfucker walk back in on his own. He deserves that. And she's watching him, and she's fucking, it's silhouetted and shit. It's so well done visually. And, he fucking drops, and she has to run up and help him back in. And it was like, I was like crying now, obviously. So clearly when I was reading, I was crying. I was like, I can't, woo, I can't believe how well that was done. I cannot believe this dumbass comic book has me in a way like this. You know, it was such a good job. So yeah, I can't believe I haven't thought to do that. I gotta see when that writer starts. Again, it's Scott Lobdell.
Oh man, are you kidding me? That's one of the reasons I knew his name. Like this whole
really, I'd never heard that name. I mean, I know a lot of the, you know, I know fucking Chris, whatever. I know like a lot of the big X book guy names. So that's the thing too, that it was surprising to me that I had never heard that name. Yeah. Again, the era, he's clearly writing Fatal Attractions and the lead up to it too. So all the more reason I can't believe I didn't know it. But yeah, really fucking good. An incredible issue, an incredible comic book that I wonder whether you could read it out of context. Like I wonder how much of its impactfulness is born in the fact that I've read the 300 issues prior to that. You know what I mean? Like really in succession. And I just wonder if like you could give that to someone and be like, just read this, and whether it would have the, I doubt it.
Probably
obviously.
not. No. Yeah. Cause it impacted me, but I didn't read all 300 straight. You know what I mean? I was reading from, I don't know, 150 or whatever it was forward, 175 forward kind of a thing. And yeah. It's big, especially if you know what it's been, what the journey he's been on. Right. And you can,
and I mean, yeah, that's the thing too, though, is that like I've said multiple times, like I thought he's kind of a dickhead. I thought he was kind of like he was not endearing himself to me throughout this process. So I thought it all that more impressive that they were able to generate that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like I was like already fucking in his corner or something. I thought he was like kind of like done a shitty job in many ways and was a dickhead in so many others. So yeah, I don't know, really fucking impressive. So that's the uncanny side. Like I said, I'm up to 303, which is right before the start of Fatal Attractions at 304, basically. That same virus shit is going on with the stretch between whenever 294 to there. There's a lot of dumb shit going on, actually. You have like a little bit of interesting Fatal Attractions lead in with the Forge finding the crash landed asteroid M, that acolyte shit going on, and Peter's kind of breaking bad. The big thing is like Peter's breaking bad. Colossus is like fed up with the bullshit, and his sister also has contracted that virus basically, and she's like on death's door, and his parents get killed for some reason or another, shit to do with his brother, or not even his brother. He's there to tell them that actually, dude. But some other family member I didn't really understand. Something terrible's happening, and he's like on the fucking brink, and he almost kills that fucking dickhead who's like Bishop's arch adversary. What's that guy's name?
Stygalt?
No. Doesn't matter. He almost kills that guy, and they like literally, the entire team is like holding him back. He's about to kill him, and whatever. I think it's 303 actually, yeah. Because then he comes home, might be 302, and he comes home, and his sister's just died, and like they like got to break it to him. And again, it's interesting they're using Jubilee, because Jubilee's not even out adventuring, and I'm surprised at how much of an emotional crux she's providing, because they tell this through Jubilee's eyes. Like, because yeah, it happens in 302 that she dies, because in 303 it's all Jubilee like sitting in seclusion telling the story to Jean Grey about her experiencing the death. It's not told from the girl or Professor X and the doctor in there. It's all told from Jubilee's perspective of trying to relate to a situation she didn't think she'd be able to relate to, and how unfair she feels it is that this little girl died, and how unexpected it was for her to feel that way about it. You know what I mean? And when so she's the one that kind of tells us as the reader the moment where Peter comes home and learns that his sister's died, and Professor X has to tell him this. And like, of course, that's a very stilted delivery and da-da-da-da. And she talks about how like, just like they kind of like, it was an impressive storytelling tool in that they like cut it off too. They like just teased you essentially how broken Peter was about it, and their ability to kind of just cut from that and not give you really the whole moment, but it's still to emotionally land, was also like a really good job in that issue, I think, of storytelling, you know? But yeah, that was really well done, that they tell it all through Jubilee's eyes. That was a cool device to do that with.
I mean, they definitely set it up even with the way that issue looks on the cover. Kind of like, if you have one comic to read this. Right. It's like, damn.
Yeah. It wasn't quite the Xavier moment, but we're talking 6 issues apart and 2 bangers that had me fucking tearing up.
They hit you up. But that's the point. Like this is just such like such a key moment in my X-Men fandom as a kid, because like it's leading up. There's so much with all these viruses that's really just leading up to stuff in coming up, and like the Phalanx Covenant, like you said with Asteroid M. Like there's so much cool stuff like in the coming few issues that this is building towards. It's like, oh yes, like it's all exciting stuff. Just like you said with Peter, like Piotr, what is he about to do? And it's so good, so good.
Yeah, I mean, because I have that inkling that he disappears. So and I don't know what it is. Or if it even happens, but like obviously that he's like at this breaking point, and they're putting another thing on his shoulders that clearly is going to make him snap in some way, shape, or form. So something crazy is going to happen with that motherfucker soon. And obviously he's already like a potential bull in the china shop. The only reason he isn't like just like leveling everything at all times, like his power is so OP that like the only thing preventing him from already being like a story breaking character is like his reservedness and like incredible antithesis of that nice guy demeanor and veneer and all that. So like you take that away and turn him into something that is like not restrained in some way, like something fucking nuts is going to happen. So, they're doing a great job of building towards that for sure. And I look forward to seeing what that is. And yeah, this whole thing's going on too. And yeah, you got the X-Men Volume 2 shit going on. I'm also reading. And it's like, every time I have to switch over to that, because I'm doing them on the same month, reading this back and forth. Every time I have to switch over to this fucking book, I'm like, fuck off. I can care less about everything you guys are doing over here. You got this fucking Psylocke storyline. Like, oh my God, fuck off. When she first appears as like this smoking hot outfit person, there's like, that's with X-Men and Jubilee. I think maybe even in that book and however it was happening though, there's like this inkling that like the Hand has control of her still, and Jubilee doesn't trust her. And like, so that was like planted as a seed from the beginning. I kind of thought that had went away, It felt like it had went away as a thing. But here in like the low 20s of the Volume 2 book, you have that, like the Betsy Braddock, the old one, the goofy looking fucking costume one that was the old Psylocke, just shows up and she's pissed. And she's saying that Psylocke isn't real. And that's all right. Directly preceding that is where Psylocke's getting fucking weird as fuck about trying to bang Cyclops, right? And like, yeah, I mean that, where she just makes out with him, like basically right in front of fucking Jean Grey. I was like, what in the fuck? And like, there's all this shit too. Like, when before that even happens, like Cyclops is such a fucking putz that like, he is just like, like they started it as like, again, just one of those like, chill at the fucking, it might have been in that chill at the house day after Executioner song. I can't fucking remember, but like, they're just like chilling at the pool at the fucking house. And like, he sees Psylocke and there's like this fucking vacation shot of the girl getting out of the pool, and like, it's Psylocke in fucking a bathing suit, and Cyclops is just like shook by how hot she is, and he like,
as is every other 12-year-old.
Right, of course, but like, yeah, exactly. You're just like the reader speaking through Cyclops, but like, Cyclops is supposed to be the leader. He's got Jean Grey right there. Like, it's just lame that he's like just muttering to himself in rooms and shit about it. He just can't. He's like watching out the windows all creepy and shit. Like, just, it's like a weird ass implementation of this idea. And yeah, I think you could have done with any other character and it would have been more interesting. I guess not, because you don't have Jean Grey as like the reason that it's interesting, perhaps. But yeah, all of it's been so fucking weird and it just makes me hate Cyclops more and more every fucking time it comes up, because he's just so unable to like do adult things and like just be a fucking well-rounded normal human being about something. He's just like constantly brooding in some way, shape, or form, whether it be about his kid and the choice he had to make there, or about his inability to just deal with how hot Psylocke is. It's just like, just like he just can't fucking process any kind of emotion and just deal with like a fucking man. He's like constantly whatever, I don't know, fucking
life is a constant struggle for him.
Just brooding, yeah. So yeah, this one, all of it. I mean, there's like you have a little bit of Wolverine history shit where he finds out that Professor X knows more about him than Professor X has told him, and he finds it. He's like what I would call doing computer stuff. He's like fucking with a computer, and that's how he finds this file, that he gets pissed off at Professor X about it. And just like they're like trying to put Wolverine as like a tech hacker moment was just really fucking goofy and felt as poorly executed as I suppose it probably should. But that was really funny to me. And Professor X is just like, I haven't told you because I haven't read the whole file, basically, They kind of like are planning to find out more for him. So I'm sure that will pay off down the road to some degree or another, but they haven't done it yet. And they kind of like, they did that moment and then they kind of stepped away from it for this Betsy Braddock shit and the lead up to Fatal Attractions. So they kind of didn't really pay that off at all, which is annoying. And then I know Amy went back home in December and brought back physical issues that she found of her brother's, issues 30 and 31 of volume 2, basically. So I'm going to be able to read those hard copy. She just showed up with them. But nice. 30 is Jean Grey and Cyclops getting married. So in 7 issues from this Psylocke fucking thing happening, he's going to marry Jean Grey, which is fucking hilarious to me, seeing that on the cover. So that's funny. But whatever. That's comic books, I suppose.
That is the Sector 1 theme from Power Blade on the NES. One of my jams. Bringing us into this. Well, this issue.
It's an issue. Yeah. It's an issue.
Like, I didn't know what else to... I couldn't think of the word to describe it.
It's specifically the May 1991 issue of GamePro. Cover price is $3.95 US, $4.95 Canadian, $2.50 UK. Up top, we got exclusive review of Battletoads. They're mean, green, and new for your NES machine. I'm really upset that I botched that. They certainly put some time into it, right? And that is, of course, the cover art as well. Pimple, Rash, and Zitz huddled up looking tough, or like tough guys. Should we have a talk now or later about the choices that Rare made in naming these characters?
Man.
Like 3 very unpleasant dermatology conditions.
I did not understand. Yeah, I'd never understood the reason for that. Obviously, there was no internet quite yet for me to look said information up. I had no idea. But it's a choice, man.
It's definitely a choice. Yeah, like what in the actual fuck?
Like they're memorable, but not in a good way. Like
right, exactly. Yeah, like you're trying to create a lasting IP with this. The idea is that this is like a rebuttal to the Turtles. That's all again, and well known, well documented.
But you
want to create something that is a lasting IP. So memorable, good. But you want it to be memorable
as a teen.
Right, yeah. Memorable as something that like you want to continually think about and different iterations of and blah, 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 blah for like a long time. And like I don't want to think about Pimple, Rash, and Zitz over and over and over again.
Exactly. That's why I think that's why their names never like stood out to me. They were never like, ooh, I never called them by name. Whereas like the Ninja Turtles, you're talking about Raph or Leo or Donatello. Right. Like there's reasons to talk about them individually. Where with these guys, you're just talking about the Battletoads or my character. Like you're not just really, I don't know. You're just naturally not grabbing onto them for any reason.
It's not. And so many other things about it are, I don't know, well thought out. It's probably an overstatement, but thought out to some degree or another. It's not like they were just fucking half-assing creating that game universe. They put a lot of effort into it. There's comics, and not just like Flying Warriors comics, like comics that are good, and well fucking crafted. So yeah, the idea that was their best idea, self-perceived best idea, is surprising to me. I mean, I get, like, frogs, toads, whatever, like that is, that's warts, like that's, it's like it's not that it doesn't fit necessarily. It's not bad in like in a disassociative way. It's just bad in like an unpleasant, I don't want to say it and think about it way. Yeah, it's just not.
You could definitely flip it. Like you don't want any part of a zit, pimple, or rash. You don't want
no, those are very unpleasant dermatological conditions. Yeah. Well, in any event, the art is great, and I do have questions about what makes this review exclusive, like just that it's one of their staff doing the review. Like it's definitely going to be all over the place, cover included.
I think they mean
in
this
Nintendo
is like
Power
the first
next
time
month.
you're seeing it, like because this comes out before Nintendo Power.
Before
Like,
Nintendo Power does the cover, I guess review maybe, but like I guess it's just a preview review terminology maybe they're going with there as the thought. Clearly, there's no cop for this either, so they can say whatever they want. But yeah, I'm just trying to, like, that is probably just the logic that, what was in Nintendo Power last month, or this month actually I should say, in May, which they wouldn't have seen, sure.
Exactly.
Also.
So to them, we're hitting this quickly, we're going to put it out first. It's an exclusive. Like, everybody's going to come check it out.
Yeah.
If anything, you're making it. You're trying to create.
Right, exactly. Your own hype, yeah. Self-hype, yep. So moving on from top billing, we have the biggest and best new game titles. Bullet pointed out below that are Akari Warriors 3, Valis 2, PGA Tour Golf, Wampum, Sherlock Holmes on CD, Ninja Gaiden for Lynx, R-Type for Game Boy, Golden Axe Warrior. And we've never seen them, at least I don't think, this jumped out to me, we've never seen them include system names in these cover game lists. And I think that's mildly interesting and some semblance of a commentary on the video game marketplace getting a bit busier. They talk about that in the issue too, So I feel like that is a cohesive magazine choice, editorial choice, to like, we got to start delineating how messy this landscape is,
But it's necessary as well, right? At this point, because if you're like, if Ninja Gaiden for the Lynx, like that's their biggest freaking IP title on the Lynx so far. But you can't just say Ninja Gaiden. People are just
assuming also, and like you get the mag and like this doesn't help me.
Exactly. So to me, it's like, oh, for that. Okay.
I mean, I've always thought it missing. Not. I mean, I don't know. Like it's a cover, so whatever. Like, arguable maybe this is a gradient, I suppose. But like, there is, yes, in games where you have cross-platform releases, particularly close together, or even concurrently, like the 8-bit, like Double Dragon for SMS or NES, like they didn't drop at the same time, but relatively same systems, same generation. I want to know which one you are going to tell me about in this issue, especially if it's a bagged, sleeved issue I can't go through before I buy it. Which, maybe that's not happening yet, but certainly coming. Whatever the case. Interesting for sure. Definitely a new choice that I felt was a fresh idea that they haven't done previously. And then Game Gear is shouted at us for the third and final tease. Never before seen game screens is what they are intending us to be salivating about in regards to the Game Gear here in the cover. Moving inside, a couple of not new two-bangers lure us into the mag and up to the TOC. Bonks on T16, and Bonks Adventure, and then PGA Tour Golf on the Genesis. It's still a shitty, boring TOC, I would say, but I would at least give them credit for it being a 0 infraction margin art cropping installment. So
yeah, they definitely were cropping still, but
yeah, but not criminally in a way that is like obtuse or goofy.
Exactly.
We have a screenshot, a reader art submission, and then they are cropping the Battletoads cover art, but it's keyed out professionally, in a way that like is a respectable magazine layout choice. A new full pager that looks pretty dapper and clean, movie poster-esque for Rocketeer on the NES is next. The two-banger Game Gear ad we've seen, and then a couple of Who Cares from Namco, Powerball on Genesis, that goofy sports game, and then Pac-Man on Game Boy. All that scoots us over to our letter from the GamePros, and this is chiefly emotionally preparing the old GamePro guard not to get your britches in a bunch when the next issue, June 91, shows up in your mailbox and it's undergone a significant design overhaul. This is exactly what I was saying about the cover. They're saying they need to shake shit up a bit to cover all the new systems hitting retail shelves. Specifically mentioning the Nintendo 16-bit machine. That's how they describe the SNES. And the Game Gear, the Neo Geo. And then, as a hypothetical, if Atari brings out its 16-bit Panther, which, of course, is not what it is. They're talking about Jaguar there. But in the event that does get released, they want to be able to appropriately address that for Jay's Atari Corner. They don't want you to be all in a kerfuffle in the event that it's not what you expect historically from GamePro. They do also use this opportunity to try and raise awareness about a bunch of their special edition books. SWAT, The Adventures of GamePro, GamePro's handheld games, GamePro Hot Tips books, which I guess they're doing books on sports cards at this time, or they've started to. So they're trying to expand into kid pop culture, whatever, profitability, revenue streams. And they also dust the closing paragraphs with a tease of the GamePro TV show that'll be debuting in late September of 1991. I feel like we got to figure out something cool to do. When that hits in the timeline, Jay, we got to, like, I don't know, maybe a live watch of an episode.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah, that's an easy answer.
Because I'm like, what?
I would prefer something a little more analytical than just riffing for 22 minutes, which is kind of what that would be. But whatever the case, something. I feel like that is a transcendent moment in video game, pop culture, whatever, to be on national television as a show, as a TV show that's just about gamers gaming, you know? And like the intricacies of moment to moment, like video game tips and shit, that shit all being on TV is a big fucking hallmark moment in video game coverage.
Like, how did they initially come at this? You know, that's what I want to see.
So yeah, we'll figure that out, but I feel like that is an absolute necessity. So we'll see what comes to mind when it's closer to the timeline. What I believe is our first look at a title full pager for Power Blade on the NES comes next, and it is of the quality, I would say the ad, of some grade schoolers making shit for the school newspaper. But the game is not terrible, I don't think. So at least we have one thing to talk about in the nominations should we get there and are teetering on suicide of our option set. So that's one thing I would be okay playing. So that was good to see here early on. The mail follows that, and the specificity and using of like it uses playground testimonial citations. I really enjoyed that. This first one from Chance in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah.
Made me very happy. He heard from one friend of his that an Aliens game is coming for the Genesis, but then heard conflicting info from another friend that it's actually coming on Sega CD. And Chance would like clarification on both the existence at all of this hypothetical Aliens game, and then which format he needs to have in place as a system in his bedroom/living room in order to engage said video game when it does hit the market. He wants fucking answers. Well, and I just love that he's like, I just love that he's citing playground, fucking rumors.
Hey, what else do we have to go on a kid?
Right.
As kids at the time, that's what you guys.
Yeah,
Johnny told me this, but Larry told me this. Which one is it, man? This is very important.
I need to prepare. It's not a short runway to get a new system, guys. Like if I'm gonna need the Sega CD to play the game I want to play, I need to know now.
Like I already have $75 saved up. Like, do I need like 10 more, or am I good? Like, do I need 100 more? What's happening?
Yeah. Do I want to okay, Christmas is coming. It's fucking May. I need to start planning for December now. Right. If I'm going to not ask for,
Do I cut grass in the summertime to make money? Or is it sufficient to just ask mom and dad?
Right. I already have a Genesis. Do I? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is the level of investment I need to make in order to play the game that I want to play? That's great. And then Jonathan in Valencia, California, is having a full-on existential crisis over the current state of the gaming industry on the whole. So he thinks that games have become, and I quote, just an excuse to vicariously kill somebody. And despite the elevated graphics and audio of these games, they are devoid of imaginative and substantive storytelling. And, Jonathan, this is a tale as old as time, bro. Keep in mind, in this too, he has this perspective. Mortal Kombat hasn't even landed yet. Like, Jonathan probably goes into a total fucking meltdown in 2 years when Mortal Kombat comes to me.
Dude, his lack of rant, like things obviously got better, and there's some amazing games coming. Jonathan, you don't even know. You don't even know.
Right. But they're also going to push you to the brink on this particular area. Yeah. Yeah, so it all feeds into his perspective that, he's giving us this I'm the seer that's giving you the warning that allows you to fix the inevitability of your demise. You know, he's like telling the industry this. He's like on a soapbox telling us all that what we have to do in order to save ourselves. And yeah, he's saying that basically we're headed towards another market crash. And this time the public won't want to get involved again. Dun, dun, dun!
But I'm saying, chill out, Jonathan. We got some innovation
yeah,
coming.
fucking man.
People are going to spend oodles.
Right. Fucking put down the cupcake, bro. You're too fueled up.
Skyrim is coming in like 10 years, 8 years, 5 years. I don't even know.
10 years, 20 years, but sure. Yeah, everything will be okay, man. Don't worry. Outer Wilds is coming, dude. You don't have to fucking have any fear. There's still going to be art that comes down that makes you feel fulfilled and expands your mind. Don't worry.
You only have a short couple years till Doom. Like, you'll be good, man.
Then Trade West leans into their Battletoads release with a full pager featuring that, primarily, the Battletoads but it also drizzles in some library pitching with ISOH Game Up alum Solar Jetman, Shittiest Basketball Game Ever, Magic Johnson's Fast Break, and then Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Off Road, also pictured here. Yeah. But Battletoads is the clear star of the show, and the headline up top reads, compared to Battletoads, turtles seem like pond scum. So they're coming hard at TMNT
Direct
with that
shots.
verbiage. Yeah. over the bow. Yeah. And then they bring it home with more tubular patter that reads, dude, if you're ready for a game that that's with a D, totally kicks butt, get Battletoads with 12 leaden levels of fierce fighting and radical racing for 1 or 2 players. And the feature is down the line a few pages, so we'll hold our cards till we actually discuss the game, but this is a nice table setter. And like you often see, we'll see it later in this magazine actually, where a developer who is paying for an advertisement in addition to coverage, whether they paid for it or not, the coverage, I mean, to be debated or whatever, we don't know. But usually in those cases, they pair them together as like, you know, they're trying to concentrate whatever. Here, Trade West is like, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you this zinger here. I'm going to let it breathe. Like that's they're like taking a more confident, different approach, I feel, in this choice with the placement, you know, that is funny to me. So,
I mean, it's all impressions, right? Like we're going to show you at the beginning. We're going to sprinkle some ad in a little bit here to get you teased, get you
wet the whistle. Yeah, got the cover. You got the cover. We got some whatever. Then we drop the ad on you. Yeah. And then we're gonna go full bore here in a few pages. Yeah. The cutting edge comes our way a bit earlier in the mag than it has prior, and has even expanded to nearly being a quasi 2-banger. Usually this is a 1-page feature. There's a little bit of mail order game exchange 1900 GamePro bullshit on there too, but it's basically 2 pages. Both elevations, the amount of coverage and the earlier in the mag, I would say are probably because Al Nilsson over at Sega gave them a fat check to cover the Game Gear coverage here, which is what this is about. And it leads off telling us that it's probably floating around in the wild in NY and LA already, if you're reading this mag, and that the MSRP is a zinger, I think, of $149.95. And I read that, and I'm thinking to myself, like, how is that comparing to the Lynx and the Game Boy at this time, you know, with MSRP-wise? So I did some digging, and I was able to get pretty, I think, reliable numbers on that. I found an Atari ad just a few pages later in this magazine, actually, that was quoting the $99.95 for the Lynx, so that's pretty reliable, I think. And then a relatively quick Google quoted that Nintendo had yet to drop the price of the Game Boy from $89.99, which was the $89 MSRP, debut MSRP rather. So they hadn't dropped it yet. And, you know, that makes sense to me too, because why would they? That fucker was rocking and rolling by 91 and wouldn't let up for whatever. They probably didn't drop the price on that fucker till like the late 90s. You know, or whenever the fuck the color came out, you know. It's probably I don't even remember how that went. If they like discontinued the monochrome one when the color, I can't remember. But
oh yeah, the monochrome one was done before the color one came on, because I feel like there was quite a gap.
Was there really?
I should look it up. Yeah,
I didn't have
because I wanted the color or the black and white one, but by the time the color one came out, I wasn't in the market for one of those at the time.
Have we never discussed that? You didn't have a Game Boy? I feel like I don't know.
No, I had a Game Boy. I didn't have a Game Boy Color.
Oh.
So by the time they started coloring, I just I could be wrong, but I feel like it was just like, nah, I'm good.
Word.
And I can imagine not wanting one of those unless I was already a full adult,
Right.
at that point.
Yeah, the only Game Boy Color aspirations I ever had was the SNES Game Boy.
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The fuck was that called? Game Boy Color, was that what it's called?
I don't remember. It was like a little...
Super Game Boy. It was called
Super Game Boy. That's
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember fucking with that.
Speaking of Super, and I was interested... I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, the Genesis is out. But reading about this Game Gear, that it's basically an on-the-go SMS. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of
the processor is it's and not basically. It is the SMS processor.
SMS.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. Like, it's good because if you're an SMS guy, you're like, oh, great. Like, this is like on the go. But if you're moving to the future like me and you're thinking Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, it's like, all right, it's cool. It's color. It is cool and it's color. So that...
Right, and it's portable. I think I could make that concession as a heart. I could put myself in 1991 and make that concession in a heartbeat. That it's not. That is the idea that this thing that otherwise. I mean, not that I had an SMS, but obviously NES SMS relatively equated in my head back then. NES definitely would have been better, but whatever the case, like that kind of power in quotations in my hands on the go wherever I wanted it, whenever I wanted it. I can make that's no brainer concession to me. That wouldn't have worried me at all the time. I hear you, but yeah, that wouldn't. I
think this is also me looking back, whereas like back then, of course, like a colorful on the go actual cartridge, real like video game system. Yeah, of course. And again, the TV tuner thing to me always seemed like the coolest thing,
dude.
I never had one,
dude.
You had one?
That's no, I didn't have one. I didn't have it. Okay. But that was the thing, like. That's coming by Christmas, they're saying. It's not out yet at the release, but it's coming. And yeah, I mean, I cannot... Like, we take having a screen in our pockets for granted and a half now, right? I cannot explain to you. I know, even the Game Gear solution of this aside, the idea of one of those little fucking handle television
Dude, that's
sets.
what I watched the 1991 Cincinnati Reds World Series on in my bedroom.
Really? Yeah. I never had one of those. I always wanted one so fucking bad. The idea that, idea of having a screen in the back of the car, that's probably the big, where else was I going?
Yeah.
Like, where else was I going that didn't have a TV as a kid? Nowhere. It's either just the car, basically, so I can do that in the back seat and do whatever I want when I actually have my own time. Away from home. And yeah, I mean, I cannot explain to you how appealing, way more than any of the gaming aspects of this machine. I wanted this because it was a TV that I would have had control over in my hands at all times, just like, I cannot explain to you how badly I wanted. I don't even know. It was never even like, I never asked for it. I never thought it realistic because we're talking, I don't remember how much, they don't have the MSRP for that aspect.
No way.
We have $150 handheld here
it was a lot,
that I can't get anyways.
Thought about it.
Right, exactly. Never an option. So it was just like a pie in the sky dream to me to have that. But I wanted that more than I wanted the Game Gear to game for sure.
And now we walk around and each have an individual screen with everything we could want.
Yeah,
that's
you can watch
crazy.
Literally anything on any moment. Yeah, and it's fucking nuts. The future's great. But yeah, back then, man, holy shit did I want this for that reason.
Right? Oh, man.
They talk about that. They talk about the processor deal. They talk about you should get the AC adapter because your 6 batteries are going to get fucking nuked in like 2 hours, basically, with this fucking thing. I think they quote 6 hours, maybe 4 hours, something like that. They quote something, but it's like, it's notoriously worse than that in actual application. So yeah, you needed the AC. I mean, I felt that way about the Game Boy though. I probably played more Game Boy on my AC adapter than I did.
Unless you're actually going someplace or driving in the car, like just plug it in. Man.
Right.
Just plug it in.
So they talk about all that hardware shit with the actual system. They also break down the 6 launch titles, and that includes their Pac-In Puzzler, Answer to Tetris, Columns, and then we have a top-down fantasy RPG called Dragon Crystal, and then an SMS Wonder Boy title knockoff called Revenge of Drancone, and then G-Lock, which is a POV jet fighter shooter, Afterburner is basically what this is, and then a Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse port. That is, it looks pretty, I don't want to say one-to-one to the one we played as a game, but it looks pretty good, and you've got to figure Disney's not going to let you do a shitty job, so it had to be pretty good, I think. And we have Psychic World, which is maybe a beat 'em up, best I could tell. And then F1 Racer Super Monaco GP, which comes to every Sega system by default, basically.
Yeah.
So those are the games there. They project the MSRP carts to be $29.95 to $34.95, so $30 to $35, which is not too bad, I think. I mean, most Game Boy games kind of the same ballpark, really. So you're spending more on the hardware, perhaps, but the games, it might be 25 to 30 is maybe the average. But I'm sure there were Genesis games that were Game Boy games that were $35, like some of the RPGs and shit, So
yeah.
That's not too bad. And then we're promised, as a closer, 13 more titles by Christmas, including a Shinobi joint, Joe Montana football, and then some golf shit. So, getting the sports titles on there too. And yeah, man, I mean, it just had to be the inaccessibility of it. I look at everything about this, and there's nothing that would have been like not appealing to me at the time. No. So I can't believe I didn't push harder for it back then,
Just cost, just pure cost, and like, what are the chances?
Yeah. We then get Chapter 19 of The Adventures of GamePro, and it's titled Bonk. So logically, it's featuring Bonk of T16 fame. And I definitely needed the last week on Saved by the Bell blurb that's up top to get my bearings of where we were in this little fucking Todd adventure. I didn't remember at all what the fuck was happening. And they explained there that we're coming out of Todd working with Mike to save some kids from Mr. Big, a la Moonwalker. And after dropping right on top of Bonk, setting out to save Princess Za, the story cuts over to Darkling headquarters to let us know that the Killing Machine Stalker, which is behind me right now, the reveal of the new and improved Stalker, he's been given a new exoskeleton body that is better suited for interdimensional travel, Jay. So you don't have to worry about the well-being of Stalker anymore.
Nice.
It was high on your list of concerns.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get out of that, and then we go back to Todd and Bonk. Zardoth FaceTimes Todd and tells him that he totally shat the bed, and he left a portal open. This is Zardoth that fucked up, not Todd. He left a portal open to Earth when he transported Todd to this Bonk's adventure realm. And he shows him that in doing this portal, or leaving this portal open, rather, he's just like showing him security cam footage of Todd's apartment, basically, that Todd has left his dog there starving and abandoned. And this whole time that he's been out doing this video game bullshit. And that Stalker's probably going to put the dog out of his misery, basically.
He's coming.
Right, so that's what the cliffhanger is. It's like, dude, your dog's about to die. The fucking starved and malnourished one that you abandoned. Your dog is fucked, and that's how we cut out of here. So, okay, adding a little new drama to it. I didn't even have that as a back burner, worried about the dog, but I'm definitely more concerned about that dog than I am Todd. So Good job on grabbing me emotionally. That closes out, and then we were treated to a new subscribe to GamePro pitch page, and whatever with these, obviously. But I did want to point out how, like, just the color scheme is uber 1991. It's like I look at that, Jay, and I think to myself, slap bracelets, and I don't know why. Bad Dudes, stage theme 2, theme, bring us into the meat on our GamePro 22 sandwich, and we start here with our cover feature preview, a 2-banger on TradeWest published and Rare developed Battletoads on the NES, coming from Boogeyman, that's the reviewer. In summation, Boogie's just telling us this is a real fucking heater of a video game. This is probably the simplest way to boil it down. Battletoads is a monster. 16-bit game systems making you nervous about the longevity of your humble NES? If NES carts to come can be this good and this much fun, you can hold off on that upgrade for a while longer. And, I mean, yeah, that dude is telling you that this is on par with Genesis gaming, basically, and that, while maybe a bit extreme, it is next level NES shit for sure, relative to what we've seen. I mean, Batman, maybe. Mario 3, obviously. But even that, I mean, this is cartoony, but it's like adult cartoony, you know?
Yes.
So, again, yeah, it's more like right there with Batman, I would say, and just kind of, I guess that's just a theming choice, less so than like graphical presentation, but the cinematics, the varied gameplay, there's just a lot of shit about this game that is on a higher level, I think. No SMRP yet on the 2 meg cart, but they give it a 96% here, with the only non-5 being the sound. And I feel like that is just Boogie struggling with the idea of giving it a perfect score, because this fucking sound of the music in this game is off the wall. Like, it should be a geeked out 5.5, I think.
Yeah.
Between the music and sound effects too. Like, that's not, it's like not like sound effects are a weak point either. So yeah, I don't know if that's the area you're gonna knock. I think we just have a perfect video game. Here, I mean,
it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, this, despite being one of historically, notoriously the hardest games ever, it's still fun. Like, the controls feel smooth, the animations are fun. Like, we know it's very good but difficult. Like, for me, I was able to just jump back in and roll. Like, the second level when you're swinging from the rope, like going down the cavern, like, immediately brought me back to
such a cool mechanic. Yeah, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. There are aspects of that even that I get frustrated about, but it's so fun and so new and so different that you deal with it and like it's fine, you know. Even though I'm frustrated, it's still so much fun of just a game function, like, or mechanic.
Each button press does something different. Like, when you're swinging, like, sometimes you want the normal kick, but you want the double boot. Or you want to turn into the wrecking ball. It's like, how do I do that? So
exactly. Yeah, that's funny you say that, because I don't know how to do it.
Some of them it's like a double tap, and others you got to get close with close.
Yeah, I feel like game epping this game just solely so I have a forced reason to read the manual and to know those things for the first time in my life might make it all worth it, no matter how frustrating the experience might ultimately be.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Level 3 was hard. And that reminded me, even before coming in, I am not willing to attempt to beat this game. I'm not even willing to attempt to beat this game. Like, when the new Battletoads was released, and the devs came out and said, we are going to make this one of the hardest games, very difficult, just like our original game. And I played that, and it was like, I got far, and I was like, I can't beat it. It reminded me of this. It's the same thing. So it's like, I know what this is. I understand my limitations, and I would be fully finding some kind of Game Genie cheat just to get through it. Like, it's so hard, but it's so good though. Like, it's fun, but it's
normally the canned thing about Game Genie codes that didn't make you feel like cheating, Jay, is that you don't need them. So the idea that we're keeping that varied is, not a bad thing. So that's not a reason not to game up the game.
Dude, no, I'm telling you, I would use a Game Genie code.
I'm telling you not to cheat like a motherfucker.
I'm using all of them, like invincibility, you know what I mean? Like, whatever allowed me to fly through objects, because invincibility is still going to make me lose on these navigational stages. I need to be able to fly through them, or like be a ghost, or like some kind of god mode cheat. And that would just be like defeating the purpose.
Yep. No, there's nothing hyperbolic about that, sentiment out there. That this game is a motherfucker. It's not just internet chatter. It is true. No.
I'm telling you, level three. I was like my kids were watching me do it, and they're like, wow. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take a break at level 3 and just.
And is that jet ski, right? You're talking about the jet. Is that jet ski? Okay, yeah. See, I didn't even get there. I wasn't able to beat 2. I kept getting my shit.
The end of it, you're anticipating every move. It's almost like, not almost. It is exactly like, if I could Jedi and slow down time, that would make everything better, because it's like pattern recognition, anticipation. It's like left, right, up, down, left, right. But you gotta start anticipating and doing it faster and faster, and you can't go as far, because if you press up too much, you're going too far up.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Splitting hairs, yeah. No, I remember it. I didn't play it for the purposes of the mag read here, but I remember it. And it is difficult, I know. And it's funny.
Prepared in case you.
I felt it's right at 3. I mean, that's its own testament right there. Because even before I guess whatever. I fire it up. The opening cinematic, it's absolute cinema. Like the opening, like the bells and whistles of this game are so well done. Like, you watch Pimple and his bodacious princess babe. They get captured. They're out cruising the cosmos in their space ride. They're like 57 Chevy spaceship,
Yep.
And then Rash and Zitz are tasked with going to save their boy. by the bird help desk guy running the fucking mainframe back of the ship. Spaceship Vulture is the name of the ship. And then we get some shit talking from the evil queen, big baddie babe, to come and get it at her spaceship, the Gargantua. So that's like the story setup. And yeah, that's all done in a great cinematic. Looks beautiful. And then the soundtrack throughout this game, nothing but bangers. Like that beatbox pause screen track. It's a top 5 video game track of all time to me.
I pause it, my kids are like, oh, what is that song? Yeah.
So simple, but so good. You know, so simple, but so good. So that's in there. All the other tracks are all fucking great too. And then, yeah, you start and it's like, okay. Up front, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up video game is like what you're initially presented with here. And the thing about it is, I mean, it's rare at the peak of the powers on the NES, I would say. Like, they found a way. We always talk about that 3D-ness of the NES tier beat-em-ups. How it's just too simplified. They're not able to make the depth of the play area work in a way that feels good. It's too either binary or like planed out. You know what I mean? You feel the planes and having to be on the plane of the enemy. You feel that too binarily, you know?
You don't feel that here.
Not at all. And like there's a little bit of a leeway, but not too much of like being able to attack from one plane to another, and it just feels fucking great and fluid and whatever. That none of the other beat 'em ups we played to date have been able to give you that feeling. So great job in that regard. My biggest concern about this type of game, a beat 'em up, I mean, at least that portion of it. And then, I mean, you get to even the boss of the first level. So you play a beat 'em up level, you get to the end of that, and it's that fucking perspective thing where you're like, and it's not just a perspective thing where you're shooting, which is what normally an NES game would try to do with that kind of thing, is like you're the shooting. They flip it on its head here, and you are the subject of that thing being shot, and you have to, one of the things that the fucking fucker shoots out, you have to pick back up and throw back at the POV. And like, that is just such a...
I don't think we've had to do that before.
Exactly, right, exactly. Just totally new idea of this existing mechanic, you know. And again, that's part of the beat 'em up level. And you go from that, yes, to this chasm thing. That's like a completely different video game, but has none of the traces of that, like, you know, the Bayou Billy effect. You know, the too many things on a cart. No.
Everything they're doing feels new and fresh. Like every different move that you can do while swinging and avoiding these is like cool, and I'm constantly trying to do one versus the other, but to stay alive, because if I'm just start showboating, I'm getting taken down by this crow and stuff that I didn't recognize, and you got to start swinging back and forth quick. Like there's just so much going on. It's like you have to. It keeps you on your toes the whole time, and that's what's exciting about it too. Because you're like, when you beat a level, you feel freaking accomplished. Like, woo! All right,
for sure,
all right,
for sure,
good.
Yep. No, I mean, yeah, that. Even that first level, like, felt, you know, there's nothing. It's not like hard. Like it's that like the first level doesn't play into the mystique of this game being too fucking hard. But it is challenging, even the first level, in like a really satisfying way. And that second level, same thing with it's just they do a great job of that. Obviously, went a little too far with the fucking jet ski shit, but generally speaking, and the idea, I mean, that alone, getting past that, however we'd have to do it, Game Genie away or whatever the fuck, like, never seen past that. I bet it's fucking an incredible experience after that. You know? And clearly, this is a couch co-op game. God willing, we can figure it out. It's probably an amazing couch co-op experience. The idea of two people having to finish that jet ski stage sounds really difficult.
We might have to do something different. Just I don't trust Parsec. Like I might just have to fly to LA. Like we're sitting on the couch with the controllers in the same environment.
I support. Although, whatever. That might be a solution, because I'm sure we definitely have to get two people through that stage simultaneously. Definitely sounds like it requires Game Genie.
That's what I'm saying. Like unless you had like one of those like. You know, like the Cowabunga collection on Xbox or some kind of modern system where we're playing just naturally and natively smoothly. that already works. Something like that would be great too. But I don't think, I think you can only play the new one, obviously, because that's what they want people to buy.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but it's everything game-epable games are meant to be for this podcast, I think. So it's really hard to suggest never doing it. So that's not to say it has to happen as our next episode, but it probably has to happen for one of our episodes.
Maybe. I'm just saying, I was already just kind of like, I spent so long with that jet ski with the kids just like cheering on the whole time, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like what?
Yeah, I didn't. When I died in the second level, there was a part of me that was like super okay with that, knowing that like I didn't even have to experience any of the emotional frustration of.
Well, I wanted to be prepared because this is a big IP, so in case you came in here like, I'm really excited. I needed to be able to like, all right, what am I getting myself into? Like, if this, like, let me remind myself of the OG experience. And
totally fair.
I experienced it all. Fun and also like, oh my gosh, man, I need to put this down and step away now. I need to go do something else.
But I mean, that's its own testament though, that you were, it's really easy. Peek behind the curtain, listeners. It's really easy for game mag ep purposes to just be like, whatever, play any more of that. Yeah. So the fact that you wanted to play 2 and even attempt through that stage is a pretty good argument that it's a game that should be game ep.
Oh, it should. It's like, I don't know what the king himself would think about me saying this, but if King were to listen. Like, I think this game, you could almost ahead of time say this game would just get the pre-blessing because of what I know about it, what the world knows about it. Like, this, like, what do we, like, to me, this is almost like
Boogie,
a Mario game. Like,
Boogie thinks it's perfect. So, I mean, clearly we already got Boogie's opinion.
Like, it's a solid, like, it feels like it almost gets like an honorary blessing without having to be replayed in the year
without having to really be subjected to the rigors of our
like we remember what this was like. We can say this was on securely a blessing, knowing that like putting it will just probably just add more grays to my beer, ever increasing the gray count. But because it probably has like already, it was just, I wanted to get through even that, just kind of as I can still do this, but it was so much like I went from having fun, like I'm talking to the kids about it. Like,
you say still do this. Is that to suggest that you have done that?
What?
Beat that stage.
Oh, yeah, I beat it as a kid. I didn't beat the game as a kid, but I got further than stage 3.
I don't think I ever beat that as a kid.
Because there were...
I can't think of what comes after it. I didn't even remember that it was the third stage, so that tells you. I did. Yeah, I mean, this was definitely...
Yeah, no,
I didn't own it. I didn't own it. I probably rented it. I probably played it at some other kid's house. But in all those those contexts are short term things that like this game requires more attention and effort than that. So
no, there's definitely more past it. But just the fact that there's 12 and I was only on 3 was very disheartening. Like, oh fuck, man.
There's
so much more.
Yeah, there's 12 levels.
Pain.
Yeah, that's fucking a lot.
Just pain, Josh. Pain.
Well, there's another jet ski though. There's a second jet.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
as bad.
what I mean.
I think it's historically not as bad, right? Or is it as bad?
I don't remember. I just remember.
I don't remember both bad, or just the one bad.
I did not want to look it up.
Our first question.
I did not want to kind of get into it just in case.
Don't need that pessimism in your life.
Yeah. Great game though. Great game. Regardless.
Natsumi's scat porn game comes after that, and Slasher Quan rips through non-stop praise on this one too, albeit hard as fuck to read as white text against a TV static background.
Right?
Terrible design choice here.
Like zooming in.
Yeah, I'm sure clearly in non-scan form, tangible page probably much easier, but horrific to try to parse in a scanned situation.
Yeah.
So he says, no doubt about it, Scat looks, sounds, and plays like a winner from beginning to end. Although it isn't as long as some games, it will take hours of practice to finally flush Malmont and company back to the intergalactic cesspool. Even if you aren't into shooters, this cart at least deserves a look-see as a rental. And I like just that like, we use that terminology all the time, I love that was already like a way to describe a game's viability, like is this a buy or is this a rental? That was present already makes me happy.
Yes.
So, calls it a rental, even if you're not into this type of game, which is a pretty good endorsement, I feel. And then Slasher proceeds to give the $47.95 MSRP cart an equally scalding 96% aggregate. So
Crazy.
The only thing they knock here is fun factor, which is probably the one category.
I would knock that for sure.
Really? For sure. See, I that's my biggest, like, that's the one that is the category when I see it get knocked is my biggest concern.
Yeah.
But, so I saw this and I saw it was like 96%. I was like, God damn, that's it's 296%. So that's its own, whatever, conversation piece about this magazine. Like, those are two searing numbers. So, like, I'm like, okay, so this game, I remember, was in Nintendo Power. And
we've seen it, yeah.
Right. So I was like, what did they give it? And I go back and it's a 71%. And I was like,
Crazy.
Oh yeah, we both thought that was fucking insane that was that low, And to the point, even hypothesizing at the time, that Nintendo must have had some beef with Natsumi because they called it Shadow of Ninja with guns, basically. So I went back in the Nintendo Power review on Scat. Yeah. So I went back and looked at their score of Shadow of the Ninja, which we double blessed, and they gave that a 70%, even lower. So yeah, like they just have some.
So they just don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something going on there for sure because that was like just a no brainer. Double blessing game. Like Shadow of the Ninja was fucking fantastic. Actually, the Nostalgia podcast they just hit it in their timeline, and they just did an episode on it a few weeks ago. And like say they were like, God damn, this is fucking great. The hanging shit feels fucking great. This is a great video game. Like, how is this not more well known or whatever?
Exactly.
And so yeah, this is just, I agree. It's fucking Shadow of the Ninja with guns, and Shadow of the Ninja is great. Add guns, not a problem. So it's a great fucking video game. And yeah, I don't know why the fuck Nintendo Power has a fucking problem with these games, but it was good to see it, I guess, whatever. The whole point of using GamePro as a supposed objective third party, to have that kind
maybe bearing it out.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of felt good to feel that payoff in some way, shape, or form, especially in conjunction with our own opinions, which is always the better way to find information of truth. But supports your priors. It confirms your priors. That's always better. So that was good. And yeah, that's another one. I mean, I would fucking play that in a heartbeat for a game episode. So perhaps we will. A full pager from Jalico for Bummer video game, totally rad, carries us over to Hollywood's ProView on also Jalico's terribly problematic action platformer Wampum.
Right? I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah. They must have... It's funny, you could read between the lines here. Yeah, maybe you got to read between the lines. It might just be on the surface, plainly. They must have gotten some backlash even then, because Holly here, the Hollywood, the reviewer, opens her coverage with what I'd assume is just PR patter coming straight from Jalico that reads, touted as the first American video game to star a Native American. And yeah, it's just like, that's clearly to me PR bullshit of like, how can we spin this in a way that hopefully still allows us to at least break even on this clearly bad idea. I think Holly's first take is about where we landed on it in our takes, just on the qualitative aspect of it as well. She says, for a first-timer in the video dimension, this little Indian brave does a pretty good job. The action's consistent, but not frantic, and each world offers a good mix of challenging obstacles. For the hardcore action gamer, Wampum may be a bit of a sleeper, but for the general gaming public, this little Indian's got a clever tale to share. And yeah, and we were kind of like, I mean, yeah, pretty good. Problematic, but pretty good game. Yeah.
Basic.
So, right. And then, it's a $45.95 MSRP, and the meter maths out to exactly that kind of middle ground, 72%. We got 4s in graphics, gameplay, and fun, and then 3s in sound and challenge. And those are all very reasonable positions, in my view, on the game. The last NES ProView is for SNK's third Akari Warriors franchise installment. Slasher Quan is on this one too. And not unlike Time Warner trying to wash the stink of their subpar existence off of them with the rebranding to Spectrum, SNK here is trying to make you forget about how shit the first two NES iterations of Akari Warriors are by lopping off the Warriors part of the title. They just call it Akari 3, The Rescue. And they can try that, but it's still not too far off the beaten path. It's couch co-op. idea, top-down scrolling shooter deal. And we looked at this a while. I thought it was new, because 2 and 3 in my mind, I could care less. You know, so I thought this was new, and I went back and looked at it. And yeah, we actually 100% talked about this, and I presume a Nintendo Power appearance, because it was immediately evident what the problem with this was.
Yes.
But yeah, Slasher does an NES Gamer callback in his little wind-down blurb here. And he says, remember when you breezed through Akari 1, he's talking about, with the continue code and decided the game wasn't worth more than a rental? In Akari 3, you get unlimited continues from the spot where you perish, so it may reach a similar conclusion with this one. And it's a fairly fun 2-player contest, but only the first trip through. After that, the game is as dry as the Sahara Desert. And yeah, the problem with it is, you don't get a weapon. You play like that whole first level, and you're just kicking and punching, and like, this is not, it's a shooter. It's called a shooter. If you're not letting me shoot for a whole first level, you're fucking up.
And on top of that, it's so annoying to me, I find, trying to hit and target the enemies. I was just not having fun with that. I was like, no thank you, man. No, I'm done with this Akari franchise.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they're putting it to bed here. I don't think there's a 4, so that may be the case.
I do not have a 4.
At least not here. I think there are. I think it ends up getting resurrected on like the PlayStation or something. I don't think the franchise is gone.
Yeah.
Right. It's got. Well, hopefully we don't know, but hopefully. SNK knows what they got here. The MSRP is $39.95. They know that it's fucking not elite shit, and they price it accordingly. The power meter situation is a rainbowed 68% aggregate. Graphics and sound get a 4. And there's even a 5 in gameplay, which I don't understand where that's coming from. No. But Slasher absolutely fucking hammers it on the intangibles. A 3 in fun, and what I feel like is the first one I can ever remember seeing in one of these with challenge. So he eviscerates it in those regards. But yeah, when I fired it up, I was like immediately like, oh god, yeah, yuck. Yeah. Crazy ass, that has the crazy ass opening sequence. That's easily the most interesting thing about it. But after that, nothing to talk about at all. That is worth it. Transitioning us to the Genesis coverage is a new full pager from Renovation for a January 2nd drop of theirs called Gain Ground that I do not recall having seen. And I like the ad quite a bit. I think it's like a young, cool dad, right? That's not supposed to be a brother or a cousin. That's a young, cool dad, is it not?
That's the way I'm kind of taking it. Like,
okay, yeah, me too.
Dad and the son, we can play the game together.
Precisely, yeah. The young kid is maybe 7. Also very cool, sunglasses, cool kid. And it's 2 of them kind of back to back. So yeah, the idea is, yes, this is for all ages of cool people, basically. Not a bad ad. And yeah, I fired it up. After seeing words like action and strategy on the Moby listing, those are good words for me, and having a reasonable amount of confidence in Renovation as a brand, they had Shmup Heater's Whip Rush and Game Up alum Gaiara's. Still can't say it. Did a whole game up on it, still can't say it. But those are great games, so I figured, yeah, that's good lineage there. Jay, what the fuck is this game, and why did I enjoy it so much? Did you play this?
I don't have any clue because I couldn't find a cart. Like I couldn't,
really?
Yeah. Is it on it's a Genesis?
Yeah, it's on Vim's Lair.
Oh, I thought it was an NES game. Is that why I couldn't find it? Maybe that's why I couldn't find it.
That would be why
something made me think it was an NES game, even though it says nothing anywhere.
If you looked up screenshots, I can see thinking that the screen it's a very basic bitch looking Genesis game. Okay, well, that'll make it all the more important to explain this in a way that's communicable then, or understandable, digestible, I should say. So it is a single screen game. It's like a level by level situation.
What? You
control a team of little warriors that each have different attack capabilities. So it's in a story universe it's kind of not unlike Phantasy Star. It's like a hybrid fantasy sci-fi situation. So you have like one has a gun, another your characters chuck spears, and like the thing is that like each one has like pros and cons of their function or their attack capabilities. So like the spear chucker, for example, can lob his spears over obstacles. So if someone's behind something, you can get them back there. But his actual range, projectile range, does not go as far as, say, one of the characters with a gun.
Pistol. Yeah.
Right. So there's give and take in each character's thing, and you're dropped into these arenas, single screen arenas. There's just like a bunch of baddies on the screen at the very beginning, and each one of those has their own attack methods and abilities and like maybe covered by different things. So you like get a moment to kind of like strategize and like, okay, I see what the problem set you're presenting me. You're able to pick what character you're going to go into the screen. You don't get them all. You get to pick which character you're controlling and you go in with. You can switch and you can one die and then switch to another character. I think you maybe can switch at times to others voluntarily without having them die. But the whole point, obviously, is to like see a problem set, design a solution based on your toolbox, and then it's a real-time situation. So a little Age of Empires-y in that it's not just a turn-based thing where you can do it slowly. You have to read and react and readjust your solution by the new problems that are presented in the moment-to-moment gameplay, you know? So
it looks so fascinating. I feel like this ad is terrible. Like as if like
the ad's not a good for the time at all
that we're in. Like, of course, right now it's great. I see that and I'm like, what is this? I look it up. Oh, okay. Maybe I want to see how this would work with 2 players. I see there's a press start. Like, I wonder how that would be with me and my kid to play together. Maybe it's fun. But this ad tells me nothing. Like that.
Yeah, it doesn't convey.
I'm assuming this is going to be a cartoony platformer by the ad.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I was not even like kind of prepared with what I was presenting. I didn't even think of the idea of 2-player simultaneous action, which I presume it is. Yeah, and that sounds even obviously great. That sounds like fantastic to sit and do. Yeah, tackle it. Yeah, I mean, I played it way longer than I expected to. It's pretty well done. Like I said, it is very basic visually, like the nuts and bolts of it. It feels like one of those PC conversion type concepts in that early Genesis library, but it is unique. Very good. It reminds me a lot of like Lost Vikings or the Humans, which the Humans you're not familiar with, maybe Lost Vikings you know, but it's you know, those like where you have different characters and they have different functions and you have to find a way to collectively solve problems between these very different tools, I should say, highly specialized group of tools that puzzles are designed around making them work in an interconnected way, you know? And if you're a puzzler type person, those are really cool when they're well done games. And there's not as many of them out there as I would think there should be, given how satisfying they are for that type of gamer. So it's an underserved community, perhaps, this kind of game. So maybe that was part of the allure as well, is that there's just not a ton of it, especially at this time. Like Lost Vikings and the Humans are not out yet. Those are later stage Genesis games. So this is one of the first ones I can think of. And they don't even exist at the 8-bit level, I feel. So good idea. I don't want to play this game app. It's not. I don't think it is good. I don't think it would. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. It would maybe be tough to play as a game app, and certainly a serious undertaking because I'm sure there's a million levels in it. But in 1991, I would have eaten this shit up for sure. Especially not having gotten what I would eat up later in the Humans in particular. Like Humans is one of my favorite Genesis games, and when we get there, I can't wait to show you that. It's such a cool, funny game. And it's very much this, where you have like a bunch of dumbass cavemen, and they're like really, there's a handful of tools that they can get to use to solve the problems you're presented with. And it's like a really cool video game that I played the shit out of as a kid. And this would have been very much in that vein. So that was a nice surprise. And then Dr. Dave brings us our first Genesis Pro View. 2-banger treatment here on what he explains is a brand spanking new third-party licensee for the system, Mentrix Software. Great name, as they all are, from those Genesis third-party licensees. And these, they're all fucking terrible, those names. And the game is similarly memorable in title. It's called Wardner. It's a carbon copy port of a 1987 arcade game called Pyros, which I can't ever recall seeing in any arcade, and is a side-scrolling action platformer. Doc here is on some shit about this one. It's a $49.95 MSRP 4-meg cart, and I feel like the language in the review is meh, but when you get to the power meter, he's fucking delusional
turned up,
about this.
yeah.
It's 84%, and get a fucking grip.
Like,
4s and everything,
that,
5 in gameplay, not there. This game, it's just not.
It's like cute, but
exactly.
You
can feel the problem is you can feel the 1987 in it. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's more like to me, like a 65, 70%, like, just like Wampum, like, fine, you know, if whatever, this game strikes you as something that interests you in some way, shape, or form, you like it, you think it's cute, whatever, you got a nostalgia tick for it, like, it's playable, 100%, but get the fuck out of here, 84%. You know, you just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near that, so, whatever. The Bohemian brings us our next one here. And we've already fucked with this. It's Sage Creations Crackdown. And it's that Bomberman type game where you're like the tactical team with the bombs going through the like little maze screens. Again, very interesting game.
Dude, I'm oddly into this game. Yo, I'm into this though. It's different. Really? Like, I like the different perspective. Like, again, unique idea. Different than what I would have liked back in the day. Like, if I'm a kid, I think I might have looked at this and not been into it. I don't know. I didn't have a Genesis, obviously, but I don't know. I was playing it now and having fun. So I'm surprised.
Same thing. I fired it up and I was very piqued. I've always been piqued by Bomberman. I just never. There's something about it that's not quite grabby enough to keep me there. But the idea of it, again, it's puzzle solving, always something I'm into, and like. The moment-to-moment application of it and the uniqueness of this, like, it's a different setting. Like, Bomberman is kind of this cartoony whatever thing. This is, like, military special forces type idea. So, like, a mature theme of that mechanic, you know, or that game system. And that's very interesting. And, I don't know, yeah, visually it's pretty meh, but, like, that kind of game doesn't need to be. It's like Lolo, you know, kind of. It just doesn't need to be visually impressive. Cutesy. Right. So, yeah, I had 72% aggregate is the meter situation. 4 meg cart, which is, you know, exactly just like the most baseline technology, Genesis-wise, basically. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not terribly opposed. I mean, if you could fucking make a good pitch here in a few minutes, I'm not. It's not like this magazine is some kind of like absolute fucking incinerate heater. No, even though the scores suggest it is. We'll talk about that. But I don't know if it actually is, in my opinion.
It can't be.
The sports specialist reviewer, Fanatic Fan, handles EA's inaugural Genesis golf offering, PGA Tour Golf. And just like I said when we encountered it in, I believe, the last Sega Visions, this is a fucking fantastic golf game, Jay. It's weird. I don't know why golf and hockey, which I could not have less interest in real life. Said it a million times. I fucking hate the sports. But the video games are always just universally fucking good. Dude, the other day, when I was like trying to figure out that, I told you my 64 emulator is being goofy, right? Correct. So I was just kind of like fence testing that and seeing like which games weren't working right. And for the first time in my life, I fired up Mario Golf 64. Jay, this is a amazing golf game. Mario Golf 64 is fucking incredible. It is so good. It is so good. I ended up playing, I was just turning it on to see if it worked. I played 10 holes. I sat there and played 10 fucking holes of Mario 64 Golf because it's fucking great. And yeah, this is the same thing. This is a fucking great golf game. And it's only the first one of many that are on the Genesis, you know? And
I feel like that's like, I would get into PGA Tour Golfs and like, say, you know, my roommate in grad school, and like we would play that Tiger Woods golf. Just great golf games. Don't get me wrong. Like, golf games can be freaking dope. Like we had like our avatars created that we played with the whole season throughout grad school. You know, it was great. But I feel like if you're about to attempt to sell me on PGA Tour Golf, it's almost like me being like, Josh, we have to play 2K. We have to play NBA 2K. I'm telling you, we got it's like, or Madden. Like, it feels like playing one of those. You know what I mean? The idea of that, because they're good, and you know what I mean. Like, and you respect it, but like, I know what it is. You know?
Right, yeah. I mean, I think you can get into. Well, like Vogue said, you can't. I agree with you on like sports games are all just kind of like the principle. That is like that's what it is. You know, like whatever. They're all there's like a sameness to them. But I don't think we can ignore sports games in general. We clearly haven't.
No, we haven't. Yes,
a number
they're
we've
different.
Done.
There's something unique,
right? And like, if you can find like those, if you can find like, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is if you can find the I think touchstones is the word, right? Where like the moments in all those very samey games that are worth using as the benchmark progress through those games we kind of just amalgamate together as just like this continuous stream of the same content, right? Like that's maybe a good analogy of it. That like Madden, like now they still fucking try to sell you one every year because they're cunts. But really, it's just a roster update for the most part. There's not changes to these games. It's just a stream of content with new data, new metadata plugged into it. You know what I mean? So like these are the same thing. Again, they haven't changed in that they're selling you the new one now, even though it should probably just be called an update of some kind or DLC. You know, back then, clearly, DLC not an option. So this was like the archaic, also bad way of, not right maybe way of doing it. But the moments in that continuous stream of content that are worth talking about as like the formative moments that made it all good in the way that it is good. And I feel like this first one of PGA Tour Golf is that. And I feel like that was present in NES Play Action Football. That's clearly present in Super Tecmo Bowl when we get there. You know, like these things are like the Blades of Steel that Jab and I did early on. Like those games, like they had Cyberball. Like that was like a weird ass way to present the football format, right? So let's look at and talk about that. You know, it's like that's, I think that is in here for these sports games. And I think this one is good enough. And it's the first 16-bit. It's still the same. That's like, it's still the same way that the original Black Box Golf is good. It's the same way this is good. It just looks visually mind-blowing for the time, you know? Like those fucking course flybys are like, even now, clearly, 30 years, something years later, when I first fired this up, when we first saw it, and they did that course flyby, I was like, holy shit, that's impressive for the fucking Genesis, you know? Like, so, like, it's just good. It's just really good. And like, again, it's like a touchstone moment in like the lineage of them.
You're right. I'm thinking of gaming in terms of like what, since we've lived through obviously all this whole generation, when we look back at these games, I think of more from the standpoint of what did I miss? What did I not get to experience? What did I have a wrong idea of that could actually be something great? You know, what is it about this game that the people liked? Whereas, yeah, to your point, I look at all the sports games, unless I know there's some specific aspect of a game that's unique and different, or from this edition forward, they did this change and, you know, it's been awesome since then, or it's been whatever. I guess I don't even think about those moments, to your point, where it's like, of course there are sports games I've loved to play on the Atari, on the NES, you know, that we could sit there and talk about, and we could talk about
I had a blast getting that boxing Chivo set, dude. Wow, boxing on Atari 2600 is fucking awesome. I knew it was awesome. I had that memory. But like, when I was trying to get all the little Chivo moments to do that, which I did in like 12 minutes, you know, or something, it's like fucking was fantastically fun. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's, you know, they can absolutely be great and enjoyable, even in archaic forms, I guess is my point. And while this may seem like another old sports game, I think if you take the time and fuck with it, dab with it, I think it's all good. All the enjoyable shit's there. And yeah, we haven't done the golf game, and golf is one of those ones that just, every one of them's a banger. I feel like I can't even think of one, honestly, that a golf game I've ever bothered to play, which maybe I am like weeding things out to some degree. I never played Mario Golf, for example, even though like, I just assumed it was like a cartoonish shitty version, even though I kind of had heard that was good also. So I shouldn't even say that, but whatever. I'm sure there's shitty golf games. Clearly, like Lee Trevino's, like we're not going to try that. Like we fired it up when we saw Lee Trevino's fighting golf. Fuck off. Like I know I don't need to play that, but this is not one of those, I don't think. And fair. Yeah, I mean, Fanatic Fan concurs. Says PGA Tour Golf has everything except little motor carts to drive around the course. And he gives it, yet again, a near perfect 96%. So the only knock is a 4 in fun, which seems weird if you think it's 96% on the overall. Like the idea that fun could be the only thing that you don't have in a game that is otherwise a perfect video game is crazy to me, I think. But whatever the case, again, it's probably just
maybe he's controlling for the fact that these are kids and this is still golf, so it's probably slightly less exciting than Slash.
But I enjoyed Black Box Golf as a fucking tiny ass kid. I remember my uncle had that, and I remember playing it in the earliest times going over his house and enjoying it. This was the first time I ever had access to that game and enjoying it even then. And I made it. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have been little then. I was probably like 8 or 9 maybe would have been when that was happening. But I remember enjoying Black Box Golf then too. And granted, again, even my stupid kid brain probably not the lowest common denominator as far as fucking what the masses prefer. But yeah, Whatever. But yeah, I'm fucking 100%. If I would play this in a heartbeat for a game episode, I guess is ultimately the summation there. And I think it would be an interesting diversion from kind of the customary format that we've been in, shooters and Karnovs and things like that. It's a very big departure from that type of a game. We get a blast from the Sega past in this issue as Bro Buzz previews Sega's Golden Axe Warrior on the Sega Master System. And this is nothing like the Golden Axe beat-em-ups. It's a Legend of Zelda clone, and one that gets a reasonable amount of love from fans of the genre. And when I say clone, Jay, I mean clone. It is entirely unabashed, screen by screen, top down, 9 dungeons for crystals instead of Triforce pieces. The whole shkabo, it's all there. It's fucking Legend of Zelda. Bro Buzz here says, Golden Axe Warrior is a great game that will cause adventure buffs, maze freaks, and hack and slashers to do some serious, but satisfying headbanging. Just when you think you've had it, you discover a secret room that compels you to continue. Got an axe to grind? Go for Golden Axe Warrior. And there's no MSRP yet, but Buzz drops a hella respectable 84% aggregate on it. There are 5s in the important slots, fun and challenge, as you would want an adventure game to have, 4s in graphics and gameplay, 3 in sound. And Jay, this belongs on our side quest yet to be quested list. So I put it there.
What? Okay.
Dude, I fired it up. I played it
Perfect.
a reasonable amount. And it is clearly a very, very well made iteration of this kind of game. Like, I immediately wanted to play more. I registered Todd, got in there, started buzzing around the beginning, and yeah, I wanted to, especially like right now we're in fucking Legend of Zelda mode, obviously, for the side quest. So like, that's the context within which this experience is happening. And I'm like, oh my God, this is right fucking there with Legend of Zelda. Holy shit, you know? And it's, you know, it's years later. Like, this is the, in the same way that the NES is maximized in the tail end of its life cycle with games like Battletoads. Right. The SMS is not unlike that. There's less offerings that accomplish it because the SMS is less supported by developers. But this is an instance of that, I think, that it's like a later stage. It's like if you did a remaster, an NES remaster of Legend of Zelda kind of with an MMC3 or God forbid even a 5 chip perhaps, you know, as opposed to the whatever the fuck MMC1 hardware situation that Zelda would have been on, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was really impressed. Really impressed. The next 16 non-pages of this issue are bullshit ads disguised as comics from Culture Brain. They've even added, so we've had that Flying Warriors bullshit going on. They've added a shitty little Ninja Brothers comic to pimp out their NES and Game Boy releases of that. So it's just like, yeah, eat shit then die, Culture Brain. And then Pro Views then resume with T16 titles, both of which are for their CD add-on. We have Valis 2 and Cutting Edge Cinematic Sherlock Holmes, the cover mentioned. And Valis 2 is just a hack and slash deal that probably doesn't need to be on a CD, and the reviewer mentions that specifically, actually, that like this can be on the base hardware just the same probably. But the QuickTime Event Festival Sherlock mystery game is like based or centered around watching the videos of live action actor performances, kind of doling out the clues for the mysteries, and they breadcrumb you through solving them with that information provided in those essentially just video testimonials, you know? And like that is a really, I think, interesting and nice glimpse into, while not relevant yet, because we're not there, but when the Sega CD drops, this shit exists on the Sega CD, and we will get plenty of opportunities to talk about whether something like this is worth anything to us in a modern context to check out once that is the case. So I'll tell you one right now for sure. We're going to do that Scottie Pippen game. That's like notoriously fucking nightmare. The Scottie Pippen basketball game. We have to do that. We'll probably, honestly, that'll be a game that we'll probably have, even if we didn't want to do it, someone will fucking Able Gamers us on that because it is like notoriously horrific, but funny as fuck.
Here we go.
You know? Yeah. But yeah, that to me, this was just a wetting of the whistle for that coming down the pipe. And I look forward to it because that's again, nothing new there that I haven't said a million times. But even though being a big Sega kid, the CD I had almost next to no exposure to it. So I look forward to finding something that is good on there, or finding the ones that are good on there, I should say. Next is a Play It Again full pager, one of many use the game outfits that are peppered throughout this mag. This one is located in Flushing in Queens, NYC. And Normally, there's so many of these in here, I just kind of blow by them.
Glaze over them. Yeah.
Right. I somehow got sucked into this one, looking at the prices while sipping my morning coffee last weekend. And so they break their price list up into system, NES and Genesis. And then within those groups, or system groups, they have pricing tiers. So each tier has both a buy and selling price attached to it. So like, the low ball NES category is $13.95 on the sell side, $4 flat on the buy side. Like Legend of Zelda, actually miraculously, is in this very first category. So you can sell them a copy of the LOZ for $4. You can buy it from them for $14, right? And they go up to a $34.95 for the buy side or sell side, $20 for the buy side, flat category on the NES side. And the Genesis tiers start at $24.95 and $10, and then go up to $44.95 and $25. And they also do a T16, but they lump it all together as this one price, right? But this piqued me because of how they're kind of just putting their margins out there in bold for us to see, which is interesting, you know? And like, they're showing you that the margin ramps up as the game theoretically gets better. Like the higher categories, they make more money on. And I feel like that's a bad thing to make transparent. Like if you, like, what, you know, customers can be like, why? Like you're doing the same service. They're doing the same thing. You're receiving a game that someone ships you. You're mailing a game to me. Like, why are you taking more money from me
supply
to do that same service? Yeah, exactly. I guess perhaps, but yeah, to me that was just like a bad business decision.
It is a wild thought. Like, wait a minute. You'll buy my used Fester's Quest for $6.
Right.
But if I didn't have Fester's Quest, you're selling it for $16.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean that alone, so to me, I agree. Like that's why I think a lot of them, they give you that free catalog or try to sell you on a membership. God forbid, the one that's like trying to get you to fucking join a club to get their catalog. But either way, that's hidden from you. You know, the buy prices or the difference in prices, I should say. In most of the cases of these, or a lot of the cases of these fucking ads. So that was interesting to me. Yeah, they kind of just made that transparent, and it just couldn't have been good for business, for the more whatever critical or price-minded individuals, I would think. But also interesting here is how the groupings are kind of maybe the more relevant and interesting thing to talk about is some of the groupings are absolutely fucking insane. Like the games that are together in a particular tier, I mean. So like, for example, that highest $20 tier for NES goes, this is the list: Baseball Simulator 1000, Baseball Stars, Black Bass, Championship Bowling, Chessmaster, Chubby Cherub, Dragon Warrior 2, Genghis Khan, one of those fucking, you know, those goddamn
terrible strategy
war simulators. No. Little Nemo, great game. Miss Pac-Man, like, yes, a good game, but who gives a fuck? That's not right there with, you know, Mega Man 3, for fuck's sake. RBI Baseball 2, okay, also great. Side Pocket, pretty good pool game, but a pool game. SMB 3, TMNT 2, Ultima 4, and then Vegas Dream, you know, which is an RPG, a weird one, but still, like, how do you put that next to SMB 3 or TMNT 2 or Dragon Warrior 2?
I can only guess there's some level of supply and demand there where there's just
yes, but how the fuck are they gauging that? You know, like there's
well, that's what I mean. Like maybe.
I mean, I guess they look at their own numbers.
They're looking at their numbers and they're like, people keep asking for this fucking game, and we only have like 3 of them. So like, if we get more of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's some kind of.
It seems crazy to be making decisions on what had to be incredibly small sample sizes like that for something that otherwise you would have no indicator that it is scarce or desired. You know, I guess the people asking for it perhaps is it's just as simple as that. Like, do we have enough? And that's the only determinant in this flowchart. You know. For the number of asks of it, I guess, you know, maybe. But
it was fascinating.
Yeah, that really caught my attention for whatever reason. Our Game Boy Pro views are on Tailgater, R-Type, and Kung Fu Master. Never heard of Tailgater, but it gets a pretty solid score. And then Dr. Dave tags the R-Type port with Straight Fire, which I can see. R-Type's a great game.
Yep.
And probably not hard to get onto Game Boy hardware. Then next we get a little morphine drip of Jay's Atari Corner! Tell them what they won, Jay.
The aforementioned Ninja Gaiden on the links, which to this point, the biggest IP on the links. Like when you look
Rampage, it's still bigger than Rampage.
Well,
but
yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, Rampage is freaking everywhere. You've played it. Like if you like Rampage, you like it because you've played it in the arcade or in your regular Atari 2600, 7800, or the NES. Like you've played it. Like it's played out. And even when I look at the Link's lineup, they're all these like puzzle games. Like there's nothing that gets your biscuits going. Like it's just like nothing gets the juices flowing.
For
so
action.
To see, So to see Ninja Gaiden, a popular NES port from my perspective as a kid, it was like, hell yeah, man. If I had a Lynx right now, I'd be like, sign me up. Let's get some ninja action. We love ninja options.
Says it looks great. And the controls are great, but otherwise pretty ho-hum. It says it's like it doesn't really... It's not a port for one. It's like its own standalone game and like a pretty thematically dumbed down iteration of the IP, basically. That's kind of the problems with it. And I think it bores out in the scores. It's got 5s in graphics, 3s everywhere else. So
that's disappointing.
Somehow still hit 76% with just seemingly mundane scoring. But yeah, not the most highest endorsement or best endorsement.
I mean, and seeing something like that, it's honestly reviews like this that let you know, like, even if you were thinking of saving up your money to ask for or to buy such a thing or asking your parents for it, reading that, like, yeah, if you were thinking you were going to get your traditional Ninja Gaiden type experience here and that doesn't materialize, that's disappointing, because then you think, all right, well, if that doesn't happen with Ninja Gaiden, we're not talking about Ninja Gaiden 2 or 3, like regular Ninja Gaiden, if that's not going to be good on the links, what is? Like,
exactly,
can I get excited about if you're going to tell
about
me
anything.
Double Dragon or anything else is here? Like, probably not. Which is
100%. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, also, it's $39.95 too, which is, we just talked about the expected MSR. And granted, that's just like, that's not specific. And I'm sure Game Gear games went up above that pricing tier. But either way, we just had this quoting of a 30 to 35 pricing tier for Game Gear, which is the Lynx's best competitor, or most clear competitor, obviously. And the idea that this mundane iteration of one of your hypothetically most appealing titles is also too expensive for a iteration of it. Yeah, it's just all. It's why it's a tanking handheld.
It's not even. It's disappointing because it's not even the fact that it didn't meet expectations. Like, we know at this point, like, I've got a Game Boy. I understand that the iterations that come out on my handheld system are not going to be a full, like, I'm never going to expect some kind of 1-to-1. That would be, mind-blowing right there if I booted up in its actual original Ninja Gaiden. So I expect some kind of variability, but if it just is Ninja Gaiden in name only and you're just giving me some ninjas and
bootleg ninja? Yeah. No, don't give me no bootleg ninja options. Yeah.
I don't want Temu Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah. What would have been what is the 1991 version of Timo? It's like Aldi's is what I think we just said Aldi's as kids. We always said like the really broke ass grocery store was probably the best.
What about Kmart?
Thing. Kmart. Really? Kmart was legit.
You think Kmart?
Kmart was not going to Kmart and putting my goddamn or putting your goddamn school clothes on layaway. It was this like standard operating procedure.
Oh, you're right.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Kmart, I feel like too, like R-Mart or H-Mart.
Well, there were Ames and Hills were kind of like bootleg. They were like the bootleg version. That's why Matt Gould's always talking about Ames. It was like the Oberlin. There was an Oberlin, there was an Oberlin Ames, and you would have rather have been Kmart probably back then for sure. But yeah, Aldi's was the Lorain County, west of Cleveland version of like, because they didn't even like. I don't even think they didn't even carry, like, cereal's probably the easiest one. They're not even going to carry any of that shit you've ever heard of. It's all the knockoff versions at Aldi's, you know what I mean? So you can't even get the legit shit. That's how bootleg the store is. That would have been probably the terminology we use. There wouldn't have been any, like, retailers that we would have equated that to back then. But I wish there was, because Temu was funny. And then we have Ask the Pros and Readers, and the only thing of mild interest here, which is nearly all titles already championed as Game Up alums, is the Q&A on how to outlast Bowser in SMB3.
Yeah.
It's kind of
really? I was surprised. I was surprised that dude needed help.
I mean, the only reason I knew that was because that I had that strategy guide. I mean, that's clearly such a departure, and you can't even see down there. Like it's I get it. I get it. If you didn't have that strategy guide that every kid, the real dialed in NES kids, perhaps like us, would have had access to, I can see that not being common knowledge. And it was such. I mean, even when I'd never gotten to him, at least not naturally.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I felt pressure when I got there when I was playing that game. I got to that battle and I was like, fuck.
That's how you should be feeling, John.
Right? Yeah, precisely. But I mean, that frazzles you as a kid. Give me the information. Give me a little, calm me down a little bit before I get in there. I can see asking that question. I kind of also like the reader question set up on the first SMS Phantasy Star. Andrew Bush in Silver Spring, Maryland, has been stuck for over a year, he says, and is begging a reader to answer his letter and, in quotations, end his misery. And I feel you, Andrew. Ooh. I played that game long ago, and I feel you. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
It's just Video Game Review!
Okay, last week Harley and I reviewed Ultra Enviroman. Whack to the curb. It has got to go. So today, we're gonna take a look at Battletoads. Rocky! That it is. I mean, they got Psycho Pigs and Turbo Thwacking. And with kick fighting, surfing, babe shaving, how can you go wrong?
The action feels totally real.
Like they won't know that that's Harley in a toad suit. Check out Battletoads from Trade West.
It's outrageous.
That is a 1991 Battletoads commercial. Trade West's vision of what kids needed to see to want to buy something at the time. And it is a series of abrupt, unmotivated cuts to needless angles on two kids on a couch being skaterific and neoned to the gills. And I would say there's some Wayne's World in there, some Pee-wee's Playhouse, and some Pauly Shore. It's a mashup of those creative ideas, in my opinion. And it's just plain a fucking lot to cope with in a 30-second audiovisual experience. But it's also probably appropriate for Battletoads. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we start next with the Pro News Report. It's going to get us rolling here on the final act. And there's far more eye-catching than that, I would say, is some new Sega marketing. So I'm reading through this issue and it around this time, funny enough, right before I get to this, it occurs to me that it was odd that we had not seen any version of that Genesis 3-banger that we've seen in basically every GamePro now since right before the Genesis dropped, those 3-page white where you have the first page that's all
yeah
bold copy and then it's featured in a game and then it has the library page. We have had that in every issue of GamePro and Sega. I figured
they got tired of it.
Right. Perhaps, but I expected, they're clearly not abandoning the Genesis. We know that. So I was surprised that we hadn't seen anything yet, basically. So we get to this, and it's because they have something new here for us. And it's good. It's an eye-grabby Sonic the Hedgehog tease, basically. And this is, so we have, it spans 8 pages in total, the bottom half of them.
Yep.
And the motif is, it's a very clean white space background. And each 2-page iteration of the 8 is just a bit too late attempt to show Sonic because he's running off the edge of the page too fast, right? So we have just the edge of him visible on the right, and then on the left we have some bold black text telling us to hurry the fuck up and catch up to him. And the first one says, quick, turn the page. Next says, you just missed him. And then the third one says, you have to be faster than that. And then the last 2 pages, he's finally standing there in his kind of hero cover pose, brow raised, looking like a badass hedgehog, as he does on all the covers. And the text here reads, okay, who's the wise guy that hit pause? And it's a small detail, but that sentence also has an exclamation like the others, not a question mark, despite definitely being a question. So that's deliberate in the half, And then the final pitch blurb below that reads, Sonic the Hedgehog is coming soon. He's the fastest video character you've ever laid eyes on. And he's only available on the 16-bit Sega Genesis system. If you want to catch him, you'd better hurry. He's going to be moving incredibly fast. And they punctuate that with the Genesis logo below. And yeah, never seen this. It's a great fucking ad, and I can't wait to game up Sonic in the June mag set.
All right.
I'm guessing it was a bit pricey, too, to laid this ad in here too, because GamePro had to restrict the layouts, like basically change their layout, magazine layout, for both Pro News Report, which is probably
Pro Shorts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
like Pro News
Pro
Report,
Shots.
probably a little easier, but Pro Shots, yeah, is also fucking truncated for the purposes of this as well, and that was probably a pretty big layout decision for them to make, So there had to be some financial motivators to do so, in my opinion. Anyhow, yeah, we're Pro News reporting here before that diversion, and the first story is on the Game Genie manufacturer, Camerica, and we are told here that they are winning their court case in Canada against the Big N, allowing them to keep rolling the fucker out north of the border. So that injunction that Nintendo probably filed on them, or did file on them, was negated. They can sell away. And, it doesn't exactly work this way, but I can't imagine U.S. courts, I can't imagine that they're, like, looking to Canada for fucking precedents in their court case decisions. But it certainly doesn't hurt.
They're going to be paying attention.
Right, exactly right. It doesn't hurt Camerica's fucking efforts for this to happen in the country directly north of you, in North America. You know what I mean? So that is probably a good thing. And we all know, obviously, that it did sell in the U.S., so it could have been.
Now we know why. Now we know what
could have been a
was
factor
part of
in
that,
it.
which is fascinating, because it's one of those questions that unless you specifically go seek it out to try to, like, read the whole story on, like, how that came to be, why, and everything about it, it's kind of just like, how was that allowed to, like, did it get sued? It's like, oh yeah, at least now, as a kid reading it, like, oh, it wins. Okay, cool. Game Genie is coming.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, the win must have given them, Camerica, pretty big balls, too. They're announcing, in conjunction with this occurrence, basically, and whatever, it may not be, it could have just been by chance that they timed out that way, but either way, they're feeling confident enough about themselves as a company to announce a 14-title NES cart slate as well, on top of this peripheral that clearly they're not, there's no way they're going to get any NES licenses for these games. so they're trying to create more of a legal kerfuffle for themselves, probably, and they had to know that in making the choice. But they don't give a fuck now because they got big balls. They won this court case. They feel good about the next one, and let's go. Let's fucking just roll into this NES money machine.
They are not worried about the Nintendo seal of approval.
Right. Right.
Seal. They're like, nope, we know we're not getting it. It is what it is.
Fuck it. Right. And yeah, they're headlining this slate with Micro Machines, or they're a Micro Machines game that is supposed to drop in June.
Oh, yeah.
And by all accounts,
Micro Machines is a good game.
I was going to say, this is a fairly revered game. Yeah, it's thought of very well, and, it's a cool IP, too, I think. Not necessarily your first thought, maybe, for a video game, but I think it translates well, racing, whatever. And, yeah, it's funny, or not funny, maybe, but the least surprising thing ever, really, if you look at it from a fucking 30,000-foot view or whatever, however you want to term that, Galoob, which is the U.S. distributor for the Game Genie, is also handling the Micro Machines toy line. So, easiest collaboration ever, probably, for that to become the case, so that is how that comes to be. We get the announcement of Nintendo and Sony teaming up to make a CD peripheral for the Super Famicom next, Jay. And the plan for this is to have it out in Japan by the end of 91 for below $700, and in the US by spring of 92. So that never happens, of course. And the fallout leads to the inception of the PlayStation and the video game marketplace never being the same again, basically. Right. So that is they don't know that they're printing like one of the most landmark fucking news stories in
the
video
person
game
who typed
history.
this had no idea they were on this like supposed thing, which will cause a shakeup in the gaming industry forever.
Right. And they're even they're so certain it's happening that they're just like brainstorming on the potential IP opportunities this could create for games on this system because of Sony's ownership of a film studio.
Up until this point, when has anybody announced like a big project together and then just not have it happen? You know what I mean? Have it just like fall apart in such a famous manner. So if somebody tells you like, yeah, we're going to put this out and this is happening, you're like, sweet, we trust Nintendo. Oh, Sony, we know they do electronic. This is going to be cool.
That's the thing. Like, you didn't even have someone in the video game space that maybe had Atari was fucking huge, I guess, but I don't think it was the global powerhouse, because that was a US-based company that killed it in the US. Nintendo is a Japanese-based company that kills it globally. Yep. You know what I mean? So that is just a different magnitude of success and world renown on the video game side. And then Sony obviously is, you know, a relative equivalent as far as like industry stature.
But it's crazy. Like when I think about it, like at the time through the lens of my 1991 self, I'm seeing stuff like the CD thing that you just showed and like these cinematic things that are added into weird things here, and it's like, okay, what is the CD technology like? You don't know how CD technology is going to be. Like, are we going to be, because with the Sega CD coming and that kind of stuff, like we don't know at this point. Like, is it going to be something that all of our games are going to CDs? Is it this hybrid world where we have cartridges or CDs? But we have no idea that PlayStation, once they get like left at the altar and they're just like, well, fuck it, we're doing our own shit, that would just like change the whole game. And it would be like, yeah, you can play a dope ass games on just this machine with this CD, not just like a little quick time kind of shit that you've seen in an arcade, which is the like game is more watching a cinematic. You're like, nah, the game is on here, it's going to be good.
Yeah. No, I mean, we always talk about it, but like completely oblivious to this happening. This is probably in the gap. I'm in the gap between reading my Sega Visions and reading the Nintendo Powers. My Nintendo Power subscription has lapsed. I haven't started reading Sega Visions yet, so that's why this maybe gap in my whatever thinking exists, or my ability to put myself in that position and think about how I was thinking, maybe is a better way to say it. Because, yeah, the Sega CD hits, and it's just like a bomb. Like, to me, like, I have no knowledge this is a possibility, and then my friend David Camargo shows up and he has Sega CD. And it's just like, what in the fuck is a CD? You know, like, what is a CD? I think my dad has that on the living room, but it plays music. What are you talking about? It's a CD.
I play a game out there.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, to me, it was just like inconceivable. Did not see it coming. Had no thoughts about it until it was right there in front of me. And like, I'm playing, he had Lethal Enforcer. And I think it came with Sewer Shark, which was like a fucking, like a jet ski game or some shit. One of those iterations. Kind of like that Valis I was talking about. Probably a game that didn't need to be on Sega CD. It didn't add anything to it. It was just a game, you know. Whereas Lethal Enforcers was like, it had, a lot of video components to it. And it was a light gun game that had like a lot of cool cinematic things. And like, you had to like buy, when you bought Lethal Enforcer, it was like you had to buy it with the guns. Like the actual like big pink and blue guns that were in the arcade iteration. You could buy those to plug into your fucking Genesis to do the light gun shit. And it was like, yeah, it was just like a whole experience because of that like added accessory on top of the cost of, clearly that was more expensive to get the gun with the game. And then Sega CD is already an expensive thing. The Genesis is expensive by itself. I don't even know if I had that yet. Like, just like way too many steps ahead to even have a chance at playing that anywhere other than David Camargo's rich ass.
I do not have $1,000
to play Lethal Enforcers. Right, exactly. But the Cocaine Cowboy legends over at Razorsoft are at war in our next story here with Sega over the bare titty statues and princesses in trash side scroller PC port Stormlord. And Razorsoft's SVP, Lisa Parker, goes on record by saying Razorsoft would never publish a lewd or obscene game, but Stormlord's graphics are no different than what you find in a fine art gallery, a good primetime TV show, or a Dial soap commercial. And I was quoting there. Don't let that, I'm not ad-libbing. Which is quite the rainbow of content to use as examples that this might be the same as. And GamePro even has a little caption, or a little joke caption combo kind of thing below a screenshot depicting some of those bare video game titties. And their caption reads, I don't remember any naked fairies in Dial soap commercials. So you know, they're having some fun with this for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
Well done.
Right. I mean, there are arguments that are valid, but you should probably just cut it off at Fine Art Gallery. The Dial soap commercial is batshit insane.
I mean, no, they needed the full quote in there so you could Like, if this was today, people would be like immediately.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, no. Quote them. Yeah, if the fucking chick says it, God, yes, print it. But I just mean at the company, at Razorsoft, that SVP needs to end text or end fucking period after Fine Art Gallery. Yeah, it just keeps on coming to. This news report is just a banger after banger after banger. Yeah, the next we have is Philip Morris USA, which is Evil Cigarette Empire Corporation. They are suing the 16 bits off of Sega over their having given the fuckface cancer merchant free advertising. 2 minors, no less. Which is like their fucking, just, woo, buddy. If we can advertise to minors, holy shit, that's great. Right? By putting Marlboro cigarette billboards all over Super Monaco GP. So they're like in the courses. You can see them, I guess. I don't remember it, but whatever. Super Monaco GP. Can you
imagine nowadays? You'd be like, yo, this game is coming out. You know how many eyes we're going to get on this free advertising?
Right, exactly. You just be.
We're going to enjoy it. We're not going to say anything about it.
It's just absolutely insane to have a problem with this and try to end it, in any way, shape, or form. Just
like this almost feels like fake news. Like it's fake news.
Fucking monsters, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's to suggest perhaps that demonic corporate culture didn't exist at this time. And, we have whatever that movie is with Aaron Eckhart. Like they were clearly they've always been evil.
Oh yeah.
So like that meant it's not like that corporate culture and corporate philosophy didn't exist then. So it's like, yeah, fake news is a great way to say it, I guess, because it's just like it's unbelievable that like that's a high level decision.
Like we know that they want their ads everywhere.
Right, exactly.
We know
2 kids, especially
children. Yes,
right, exactly.
You're going to tell me they looked at this and were like,
right,
we can't have that.
Fucking someone just had to be asleep at the wheel or something. I don't know. Yeah. Or honestly, you want to get real high level with it. It's already in there. They're not gonna.
You think maybe
the game's already in the shelves. They're already in the kids' houses. You're not gonna recall. Like that's not gonna happen. Like kids, they're not gonna. It's not like a lead paint situation. The parents aren't gonna take the game and bring it back. And there's no way to retract the choice, basically, I guess. So really, it, I guess, could be argued you're fucking up your chance that it's gonna happen again, which is probably stupid. I think, and probably not honestly worth it financially, but
in that time frame too, like you're also risking the chance that you're going to have some weird like Christian response where it's just like, we got to remove these from the shelves, and you're seeing like people just like dump them off the shelves and smash your game instead of, you know what I mean, or something stupid where you're like, well, that messed up my money, or you know what I mean. That's less eyeballs on our product.
But does that
outweigh the public?
Well, does that affect the cigarette company? Probably not, They're already doing that about cigarettes probably, so they don't give a fuck. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could probably find a way for them to be like, listen, it's not going to change the existence of it. It doesn't diminish the free advertising that we already got that we're happy with. And it just potentially, as most corporate litigation goes, it's just a profit center.
We will feel, and we could potentially just, this is us taking the high ground. The more high ground, like, look, our product is
right. That is probably the best. That is probably the best argument
of this going to children. Even
exactly. It's them trying to. That. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Don't ignore our Camel Cash campaign over here.
When you're 21, remember to come see us because we're the good guys.
Right. That's probably the best explanation of it. Yeah. So by comparison to all those fucking absolute bangers, news stories, the standard issue video game development and release news in here is a total snooze fest. There's nothing in there I'm even vaguely excited about. Agreed. So they did a good job of giving us things that are worth actually talking about prior to that. The results are in for the NEC TV Sports Football Contest. Next, 3 of the contestants broke the fucking video game, Jay. Did you read this? They scored over 255 points in a game, which breaks the scoreboard because math and multiples of 8, like I said, 0 to 255, just like Zelda, for whatever reason, and science things we don't understand, it breaks the fucking scoreboard in the game, and that is, so they don't even know how, they can't even like compare them to each other. It's just broken. So these 3 kids broke it. These 3 kids get the prize, basically, or a prize. And that is funny to me that, like, I don't know, kids trying so hard they literally break the video game and break the contest. I love it.
Good job, kids.
The prizes were pretty dope. You're getting like the fucking Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD system, which is like $9,000. So cool prizes that are worth, I guess, fucking pushing your gaming capabilities to the limits.
Sure, man.
And then yes, we then move into short pro shots, and they're also a real drag this month. The NES offerings are all unreleased. We have Activision's Die Hard, Parker Brothers' Trivial Pursuit, and Sunsoft's Super Spy Hunter. Sunsoft is a developer that, for the most part, is pretty hit and miss possibility companies. And I have some minute hope for that Super Spy Hunter game, but Activision can die in a ditch. Everyone in their games is trash, especially their movie adaptation ones. Predator and shit, all terrible. And then Trivial Pursuit, I don't need to play that on the NES. So these are not even exciting in an anticipatory context. They're definitely not worth playing, or we're definitely not going to play them right now. And then Genesis is kind of interesting. Not adding anything to our game debate, but they have EA's Goofy Action game, James Pond. They have a Micronet puzzler called Junction, and we've seen them already. James Pond is kind of like a cute curiosity for me, but there's no way I'm getting there in a game episode. And puzzlers, whatever. It's not a bad one, but again, not enough there. And we do have our first in-print promise, more importantly, here in the Genesis section, of a release date for Phantasy Star 3 from Sega. And it's supposedly to hit the following month in June. That's a bit premature. It's not till July, but pretty close either way. And I love their subtitle for the game, Generations of Doom. That's a good title for a video game, particularly an RPG. Jay, could you please read their pitch of this, since I'm sure you're excited to play it as our next RPG?
Phantasy Star. You loved it the first time. You couldn't get your hands on the sequel fast enough. Just imagine how you're going to feel about Part 3. Yes, fantasy freaks. The epic role-play saga continues. This time, however, it's bigger and better than ever. As you travel through the 7 journeys, including 9 different worlds and moons, you'll have the pleasure of becoming even more deeply involved with the characters as you share in their life experiences, such as marriage, aging, and even death. Set aside hundreds of hours to complete this megastar adventure. If you think you were hooked before, just wait until you enter the 3rd fantasy dimension.
Sounds to me like they definitely took it up a notch.
For real,
the thing.
Whoa, no.
Well, hundreds of whatever. That they said that about 2 too, if you remember.
Did they?
It was not. Yeah, okay. They said hundreds of hours at some point in that tip book or somewhere. I remember we talked about. But the thing that we had the most praise for in that entire gaming experience, 100%, was the in-game stuff and like how the allegory of humans destroying the planet and finding out that they were kind of essentially the bad guy, like us were the bad guy, was a very interesting story idea. Obviously, so much of the gameplay left a great deal to be desired. But it sounds like they're leaning into that there with like basically giving you kind of those like story beat things the marriage, aging, death mentioned to me. Yeah. Sounds like a really heady story focused whatever leaning into thing that, like I said, 3 is the one that everyone says, like 1 and 2 were revered. The whole series gets a lot of love on the Genesis side of things, but 3 is the one where people really say that's where the fucking series hit.
Oh, really? I thought
hit.
2
yeah.
was okay.
No,
interesting.
Yes, 3 is like a whole nother level supposedly. So that's the argument, I suppose, for not taking Phantasy Star off our plate entirely. What I need to know, though, what they need to tell me is, are the dungeons shit, bro? That's what I need to know. Like tell me something, GamePros, about the fucking dungeons, because that was miserable. There are a few Game Boy titles as well. Nothing spicy in there, though. And then we get to SWAT tips and tactics. The one that I maybe most wanted to single out was the Thunder Force deal on the first page, and it's nothing to do with gameplay whatsoever. They're just tipping you off that you can manipulate the hero's animation / behavior, whatever, in the end cinematic. So while you're being shown the end game fucking cinematic, basically, you can hit the C button and your character winks and waves the POV when you do so. And like, I just love that like a kid took the time to write that in or send that in, and like the magazine was like, yeah, that's cool, let's share that, is pretty cool to me. Because, yeah, you wouldn't assume that maybe watching an cinematic normally, so that's kind of cool. And then there is this 1-up talk for Shadow Dancer that I could care less about as far as the 1-ups go, but it does make it possible to discuss that game as a game up here in a few minutes. And we have not revisited Shinobi at all, despite maybe some conversations about doing so previously. So that was kind of exciting to me. And there's also a belated Lunchroom Tabletop Eavesdrop for Little Nemo. First time we've seen a level select for that, which is cool.
That looked cool. I mean, they also had a 64 lives code for bad dudes. So
64 lives. Holy shit, I didn't notice that. That is a lot of lives.
Could roll in bad dudes,
Yeah, that game's pretty terrible. You could, So that maybe would make it tolerable.
Definitely. I did find it interesting as well that they had the 10 lives TMNT 2 code there, the one that was found in
fucked
game.
up. Yep.
That's cool.
They do not have the same R&D staff though that Nintendo does with that guy that's just cranking out the codes for TMNT 2 months, every month now. So they don't have that guy over here at GamePro yet. They need to get that guy in the line. The Pro Artist series gets us winding down on this issue, and these are the reader art submissions, and they were going off a prompt of putting Todd from the Adventures of GamePro comic into a setting of your choice, which is cool. I don't remember that prompt, but that's a cool suggestion. It's like very open-ended, and obviously leaves, open to your imagination. That's cool. So they don't say anything about what the winners get, but I'm sure it was lit. The one that I am on board with the most is in that first tier, the Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Moblins, whatever the fuck that game was called that we game-apped, of the Genesis game from that series. And Todorino is placed fighting the final devil boss, where you had to run between his legs while he was stomping while sitting in the throne, and they put Todd in that situation. And that was cool. That was an awesome boss battle. We loved the fuck out. That was really cool. Visually and functionally, it was a cool battle. Yeah. Right, yeah. So, just very cool. And, the art, obviously, for it is fantastic. So,
solid. Good
for them. The second placer, in my opinion, would probably be from the low runner-up category, though. That Gremlins one from T.W. Jones in Carthage, Missouri is dope as fuck. That was like awesome detail on the huge evil gremlin face, and then Gizmo's cute as fuck over there to the right. Very good rendition, I think, of that IP. Did you have any in there that were particularly...
No, I like those as well. The Bart Simpson one I thought was interesting with him, Bart, and GamePro back-to-back. So I kind of like that one. Just like the different perspective.
The foregrounding is cool, yeah. Giving it some depth. That's a good one. Yeah, these are fucking great. Every time I would see one of these in one of these magazines, I was like, I can't believe kids can. Pro Challenge Board still isn't printing fucking gamer locations with the scores, so fuck GamePro and the horse they rode in on. The next issue tease headlines are The Uninvited on the NES front, Sonic the Fudgin' Hedgehog on the Genesis front. And that's exciting, of course, as I mentioned. And then because two ninjas are better than one, American Sammy throws their Ninja Crusader pitch at us. Then Konami puts a bow on it with a very cool skier dyad I don't believe we've seen to date. This reads, ever been bored to death, dude? And they spell bored, B-O-A-R-D.
Skateboard.
What's it called? What the fuck? Snowboarding. Snowboard.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, here's the chilling fact. Ultra Skier Die for Nintendo puts you and 5 buddies in the middle of a gnarly yet nasty snow sport spectacular where it's survival the fastest and the raddest and the baddest. And it's very unlikely, but I want to believe it's all these Konami ads. The TMNT one, some of the whatever. They're all this like really extreme verbiage. And I picture the guy that writes this copy over at fucking Konami just being the one dude, and he's got like mohawk, fucking slap bracelets, a Bart Simpson, who the hell are you? I'm Bart Simpson, who the hell are you t-shirt, just like a fucking fully pop cultured out 1991, just extreme. Copy, just over there just hammering out this shit. Yeah, I want to picture that as being the way this comes to be, but it's probably wishful thinking.
that is the Elecman stage from the original Mega Man, blinging us into the nominations.
Where did you see that? Was that one of the SWAT tips? And
yeah, I mean, Mega Man was in, I think the Power Board, one of the completion. Somebody completed Mega Man.
Oh, okay, copy.
So I was like, okay, done.
Because I probably would have put that on my fucking list if I had seen it. given this issue's option set. So yes, the issue Power Meter Cume, all that mailbag fueled hyperbole caused a smoking hot 83.5% aggregate rating for the issue, which is pretty fucking high. It's 3.1% above the running average for the mag to date. And it's a three-way tie for the high bar. We got Battletoads, Scat, and PGA Tour Golf all getting basically perfect scores, 96%. And then the lowball title is Akari 3 at 68%. So that's the numbers. You bling us into the nominations, Jay.
Well, as I mentioned, I do not have many nominations because I think the fact that we diverge here and I'm having less and less nominations and you're having more just speaks to where we're at in our gaming journeys. Like I was Atari and NES at this point, very much looking forward to the Super Nintendo, and I'm like following along. So like I've played most of the games like I would have wanted to play, unless there's like something waiting for something new to drop.
Oh, there's definitely, just generally speaking, like one more peek behind the curtain here. I do these notes that I send over to Jay. One of them is the outline. The doc that we work from is just like a backbone for each episode. I list each game in each magazine in that document, broken up into the three sections of the podcast, but three segments of the pod that are talking about the mag pages, right? And I always bold the new titles, at least in my memory / perception, for games that are brand new for the first time they're Game App eligible, right? And I mean, this issue has 3, out of God knows how many games, probably
exactly
40 maybe. And that is a very low number comparative. So yeah, just generally speaking, because they've all went monthly now Sega's not quite there, but close. And yeah, there's just fewer games that are new every issue. So we're always kind of retreading. And if you're not excited, generally speaking, about where we're at and those potential retreads,
yeah,
there's just not a lot to talk about. So
it's actually how things felt back then, when you're kind of like, all right, what's like when you're really looking forward to the Super Nintendo and Super Mario 4 / Super Mario World coming out in the fall, or you know what I mean? You're like, I'm happy, I'm playing my games, happy to like mom to rent me like one of these other random games I haven't played yet, just to play it. But like I very much am like going and looking for the magazine, like, all right, how long do I have to wait? What's coming out? Because here in NES, Nintendo Power, in the back, it would tell you, at least during times, each month when things are coming out. Like, come in July, August, you could see, like, okay, in 3 months from now, they're going to, this Super Mario,
even though they're almost 4. Always completely wrong with those quotations.
Exactly. But it gave you something to kind of look forward to. So, like, I feel now how I started to feel then. Like, all right, like, this was just a whatever, but 3 months from now, it's going to be fine.
Biding my time. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just biding my time. I hear you.
So, with that in mind, I nominate Crackdown because it's something different and crazy and something unique. And then as I'm not going to go over the reasons why I thought that was good. It just a unique perspective, something different, something cool. It visually looks interesting, so why not? And then even though I know I beat it as a kid, like I'm 99.999% certain I beat it as a kid, Power Blade, because it's a fun game. Like, I visually remember that freaking boomerang being like an awesome thing, and it might be fun to just play again. So I purposefully didn't really play that one this time, but like every other game that was in this episode, I played again just to kind of remind myself, like, what, like, there's got to be something I'm missing that like is good here. And so that's kind of what I came up with was those two.
Just those two. Okay.
Yeah.
Power Blade was the one. I had 5. I pared it down to 4. Power Blade was the one that I, again,
took
like
off.
Very beginning of the episode, and I was just like, okay, that's a fail-safe option. I'm fine with that if that's all we have. And when I got down to it, trying to constrict this, that was the one I did take out. So I got Battletoads. I got Scat. Those are my NES options. The latter being Ninja options, the Shadow variety, but with guns, like we talked about. Right. That's the appealing aspect of that. And then On the Genesis side, I have PGA Tour Golf, and then, yes, Shadow Dancer. More ninja options, but of the canine variety. That's the one with you have the dog as like your deployment tool.
Scat, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about that one. Like, I played it, and like the whole, like, your secondary weapon, you got to change whether you're shooting it forward or backward. Like, I don't know. It felt, I'm not saying like it's bad or that it would be bad. I don't know. I kept dying. Maybe it just takes time for me to like actually read the manual and kind of get used to it. I don't know.
And the argument against it, from my perspective, would be that it is just Shadow the Ninja with guns.
I don't want to do that again.
Right, exactly. We did that episode, so I can hear the argument against it and just not being excited about it. I can hear that for sure.
So yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
Of the three, it's probably the most filler. So I hear that for sure. Battletoads, again, that's not going away.
It's a great title. It's just so hard, man. I just know what we're signing up for, and like
right.
I would have to kind of be okay. Like what level would I be okay falling off? Would I be okay just like game gening and just trying each level and spit it, like give myself a time limit? You know what I mean? Like I don't know that I could put myself through the same process knowing that I just kind of did a little bit and how that felt, you know?
Well, you know, it wasn't something that had come to mind beforehand, but as all these dialogues tend to do, they give you a new perspective after 4 hours of having it. The idea of getting away from what has been our game at EPs of late, like I said, these action-based shooters and side-scrolling deals, like the idea of getting into something that feels a little different is particularly appealing to me.
Yes.
And that would put us at a talk between Crackdown and PGA Tour Golf, I think.
Yeah, you know, Crackdown, obviously I nominated that. I think that would be fun. Something different. Also, PGA Tour, again, going against what I said, obviously this is the moment to talk about these things. Golf games are typically okay. Like, it would be a different kind of thing that I could kind of take at my own pace. Definitely something switching it up, like doing golf for a game.
Huge departure from,
very different than oh my gosh, I got to beat this game. Like I guess we would do 18 rounds a couple times. Maybe you try different courses or whatever. I don't know how it's laid out. I don't even know. I don't know if there's like a tour that you have to do in the game that requires you like to complete 5 courses. I don't know how that works because I'm not a golfer, but it could be
right.
fun.
There's
like a season in football or something.
Right. That first round, I don't know either off the top of my head. The first round of those EA Sports titles, I don't think any of them really leaned into like the franchise type approach. Like there's probably some kind of tournament thing. I don't know how many. I'm guessing there's more than one course, but I'm not sure.
There would have to be. It's PGA Tour. Tour is more than one. Right?
That's just a name. That's just a name, bro. That's just what they were just using that's what the IP is called. Just like, you know.
No, but isn't the PGA Tour I'm pretty sure the PGA Tour is that, like, it's an actual tour of like multiple.
Yeah, it is. But I'm simply saying, but that's just what the league's called. It's called the PGA, sure, but there doesn't, I guess all I'm saying is there doesn't have to be a tour in the game for there to be a tour in real life and for them to be using the PGA. In the same way that, like, you know, Lakers versus Celtics is just the playoffs, you know, like, yes, it's the NBA, and I mean, they don't call it the fucking NBA season, I guess, but like, you don't get that then. Madden is just exhibition games and then a playoff. Like, it's just kind of the MO, I guess is what I'm saying, of those sports titles at the time, is like a truncated version of more than just one game at a time.
We're not at sim level yet.
Right.
We're going
Precisely.
full. Got it.
Precisely. So yeah, there's probably something like that in there, but either way, yeah, I mean, you know, we talk about that too, of course, but yeah, I mean, I think the fun thing is just, the moment to moment action of the game, as much as golf provides us that, but just the moment to moment experience, and then clearly there's a head to head option there that we have to figure out for sports games. We got to figure it out. Doesn't have to be on video, but there's got to be a way to do that for sure that we can get to the bottom of to take a crack at that experience, a head-to-head experience, you know. So yeah, man, like I said, I pushed it for a couple episodes now. So if I got you there,
all right, fine, I'm fine with it. I'm sure.
Okay,
Let's
PGA Tour it is. That's pretty fun. That's a huge switch up. That's fucking massive. I did not expect to get there on that. So
I told you, man. I that's why I pre-texted you, like, dude, my list right now.
It's in shambles. My nomination list is in fucking shambles. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so we will do that next, PGA Tour on the Sega Genesis. And then we are changing gears to Sega for their Summer 91 publication of Sega Visions.
Sega!
Yeah, man, on their issue 5. And guess what's on the cover of that, Jay?
Little blue guy?
The little blue guy. So that is what's coming at us next on the mag tip, assuming we don't get diverted away on any Able Gamer stuff between now and then. And you can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided by whatever dumbass company that serves up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever pod platform you do listen to us on. If you enjoy our nonsense, the website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOH-pod to get all sorts of more information, graph paper map archives, the ISOH Google Drive, our side quests, it's all there. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. Follow the pod and banter with us on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the subreddit. Talk shit about our gameplay videos on the YouTube. Links to all those are in the show notes too, of course. And then we don't have a Patreon, but if you like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, like do so at our direction. The Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That's cool as fuck and would be a tax write-off with tax season on the horizon. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts on the website. They're dope. Proceeds on these go to Able Gamers. Both wearing one right now. Jay's is less bacon-necked than mine, but it's they're good quality. I've had this for a very long time, and that's why mine got bacon-necked. So those are on the website as well. And Jay, tell us about your socials.
Gentleman JB without the second E is my gamer tag. That's where you can find me. Let's come game together. And yeah, as much as you'll see me, that is my socials on Blue Sky, Instagram. Yeah.
Word. I am on Instagram at my Shape Key is Broke. That's also my gamer tag on Steam and Meta. And then you can find me on Blue Sky at nyehentertainment.com. Okay, bye.
Bye.